This podcast is brought to you by the Arte Media Pantheon. Please head to artemedia.org to see plenty of podcasts from our great friends. And if you would like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with the tools and resources to do so there. So please head to artemedia.org. That's ARETE media.org. Totally flawless. Totally that, for as everyone who listens to, on the audio version is concerned, is the first time. It's the first try.
I know, yeah, as far as they know, I never sneezed.
Jordan never sneezed, and it didn't take 3 times to do it. This is an alternate universe where that never... Welcome to the Spur of the Moment podcast, everybody! I am your host, the forever, the never-ending, the occasionally ending. I'm Justin Spurr, everybody. I'm joined, as always, by my benevolent co-host. Benevolent? That doesn't feel like the word. It's the incomparable Jordan, everyone. Jordan, how are you?
It's the always Arctic, occasionally frozen, usually cold, incomparable Jordan. I'm okay. I'm a little Arctic today.
So
had to get the old blanket.
So before we jump into the news today, of which I would describe it as sparing, I guess on today's show, let's do that first. Let's do what's on today's show. News. We got news. Captain America, Brave New World. Apparently, there's a deleted scene. It answers a question. We're gonna guess what that question is. Fantastic Four. Why is Doctor Doom not in the Fantastic Four, and why is the bad guy Galactus? We can talk about that. I Am Legend news. Minecraft movie. People are being dumb, so we got news about that. Something happened with the live action Tangled movie. I forgot. I think I might have watched the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 teaser trailer, and dear God, they renewed The Simpsons and American Dad and Bob's Burgers. And then in the second half, it's a Hanna Barbera special. We're gonna talk about a slew of Hanna Barbera stuff, including some very old television shows, some oddly good movies, and some bad movies. That comes later. Now, before we jump into this, before we get into the news, we got to do some comment response, but I'm not going to read the specific comments. I'm just going to talk about them in vague generalities. My favorite comment of the week...
That sounds vaguely appealing.
My favorite comment of the week was a gentleman, I assume, who accused us both of being lazy. They said that the show might as well be called Two Lazy Bald Guys to Talk About Movies, which that is inaccurate. We are not bald.
I have hair. I have hair. I mean, I know that it's thin right now, but it does exist.
It is otherwise very accurate. We are incredibly lazy.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. You arrived at the point of the show.
You arrived at
Two lazy guys talking about movies.
We just talk
I'm so lazy. I'm under a blanket right now.
We're just two regular guys. And also, we have picked up quite a number of subscribers recently. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming along. A lot of you have joined us off the back of our Tokusatsu episode, which thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Those episodes are like a lot of work. They require an extra normal amount of work
for us.
Yeah, they take 2 weeks. It took us 2 weeks to do that. So mostly
because we have to sit through an entire series.
Yeah, 53 episodes of a show. It's a lot more work. So when you guys join us off of that, that's really gratifying. It makes those episodes worthwhile. And weirdly enough, it's the only time we seem to get requests. We have a particular commenter. I wish I had the name in front of me. I'm sorry. They really want more Super Sentai. I was considering not doing another one. That number 3, a trilogy was good. That was it. But such high demand. He recommended at least 5 or 6 different series. We will definitely be back for part 4, but not for a while. Those take a lot out of me. It's a lot of Japanese, but we will absolutely come back to that at a later time. Stay tuned.
Yeah, those are usually the season openers. Maybe this season won't be like 26 episodes, so we might get to it sooner. Who knows? Who can say? Who can tell what the future may bring?
Who can tell? That's it.
Justin can. He chooses what we do, so it's him.
It's me.
Justin chooses.
That's pretty much that's pretty well that's it. That's all the comments. They're all varying degrees of. Oh yeah, someone pointed out that the Super Saiyan, the Beast Gohan is an extension of Mystic Gohan, which is what we said, which is what we thought. Keep
Wait,
on
that's
commenting.
official now?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I asked that question. They did not respond. So maybe they'll respond by next week. The mystery will be solved.
Okay. I understand.
On with the news. First news story. Come on, phone, be cooperative. So yeah, apparently Captain America: Brave New World addresses biggest unanswered Easter egg in the MCU. Jordan, you want to take a guess at what you think?
In the MCU, okay. I thought you were going to say this deleted scene answers the biggest question in the movie, which that was going to be a very easy one for me. But okay, biggest in MCU. Where is the Vision? The White Vision?
Hold on. Oh, well, that's not very interesting. Apparently,
because if you were going to say that it answers the biggest question in the movie, the biggest question in the movie that I think a deleted scene could have answered is why isn't the Hulk there? Like, why isn't the Hulk helping? Or Bruce Banner?
Yeah.
But biggest in the MCU is a very different thing.
I hate to disappoint you. The title of this article is Worded Weirdly. Oh, okay. So I guess this bonus clip more explicitly confirms, but the movie already kind of said it, was that when Samuel Stearns became the leader, like when he got into the lab accident, which we already knew, that's when he gets knocked when he's turning the Abomination into the Abomination, the blood goes into him and his head grows. That's when it happens.
Yeah.
Apparently this bonus clip just confirms that. I'm like, that's not really interesting.
I guess maybe they felt that they needed to include a scene originally. Probably the thought process was they originally thought they should include a scene because they were like, well, maybe people haven't seen this movie from like 2012.
Oh, probably.
Where it originally happens, and so we should like explain it in movie. And then they were clearly like, well, no, if they really want to know, they can just go back and rewatch that movie. I'm guessing that's what the logic was.
I guess, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's also older than that. I think it came out in 2008, I think, or 9.
Whatever, 2009. You get the point. Old movie at this point.
Very interestingly, and connection. Is that anyway? Relation to our Oscars episode, check that out. That was a good episode. The Oscars have announced that they have created a new category for the Oscars. And Jordan, have a guess what you think it might be.
Let's see. Something related to animation, maybe? A subcategory of animation?
No. I'll give you 3 guesses.
Okay. Audience favorite.
No. 3rd guess.
Something to do with special effects?
Oh, you know what? I'll give you 1 more because you're close.
Okay, so we're in the range of special effects. Best motion capture?
No.
Performance?
Best stunts.
Best stunt.
Achievement in stunt design.
Interesting. Okay, well that's boring.
I mean, nah, man. There's some in a world where everything is CGI. A good stunts is so rare nowadays that I think it's worth highlighting. When you do something for real, it's 1,000 times more interesting than when you do it with special effects or CGI. So I believe in rewarding that.
That's fair, I guess. Yeah. All right. You've changed my opinion.
Excellent. That's what we do here, on the spur of the. You're not doing it with me, Jordan. On the spur of the podcast moment.
Yeah.
Nailed it. We nailed it.
Wait. 3, 2, 1. The Spur of the Moment podcast.
Hey, we did it. We actually did it.
There was a little bit of a delay, but we mostly got it.
So, okay, Jordan. Once again, bring up the wheel. It's time for superhero interview answer roulette today on superhero interview answer roulette. We have Mr. Alan Cumming talking about his upcoming role in Avengers Doomsday. Jordan, what do you think he said?
I don't know who that is. Hold on.
Nightcrawler
Alan
from X-Men 2.
It's a real honor to get to be able to come back and reprise this character.
Really?
I'm what?
No. Keep going. So I'm just reading what he said. It's fascinating.
It was a lot of fun. We got to do things that wouldn't have been possible when I originally played the character. And I'm excited for the fans' reception.
Close. You're close. You got the spirit. I'm not gonna give it to you, but you got the spirit. You're not far off. Now, okay. Before I tell you what he said, this is probably gonna give it away, but what do you assume he's coming back? And this is based off of the back of Kelsey Grammer coming back as the Beast in the Marvels. He was an entirely CGI character, no makeup. You would assume that at that point, Alan Cumming is coming back as Nightcrawler. He's not going to have to wear
the makeup.
It's going to be a CGI character, right? You assume?
I mean, I would assume that it's like Iron Man situation where it's a mix of the two. Whereas like half the makeup that he used to have to wear and the rest they fill in with CGI.
That's interesting. That's okay. So his statement is, "Isn't it nuts? I'm excited and amazed. It's been 23 years since I was a superhero. I've had some makeup tests already for the role, but what's great about it is before it was about 4.5 hours to apply it. Now it's only about 90 minutes, which tells me, yeah, you're right. It's a
yeah.
They've found a way to like blend the both of them, so it'll be like a partially CGI character, I suspect. But the fact that he's going in and doing makeup that surprises me.
Like he probably, it might be a thing where like the body is capable of not having the makeup and it's just on the face or something. Or maybe the other way around where the face is motion capture type technology and the rest of it is physical actual makeup.
So you might as well stick in Marvel Town. So the director of Fantastic Four was asked why Galactus was chosen to be the villain of the movie over Doctor Doom. And he said, or do you want to, we'll make a guess. What do you think he said? Round two.
Okay. Let's see. Well, we felt that Galactus was untapped territory. He had never really been done before. And we were interested to do a fresh take on a fresh, interesting character. Also, maybe because they knew that Doctor Doom was going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. and there's alternate universe stuff in there. But I'm guessing mostly the first thing that I said.
So, you're close. You're close enough. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the point. Points are made up. The rules don't matter. Anyway, he said that Doom's a great character, but he takes up a lot of air. Other film adaptations have done both an origin story and Doom. We're doing neither, and that allows us to look at them from a fresh perspective. Which good, and that sort of carries an element of what you said with Doctor Doom, which is that they haven't done Doom right. Let's do Doom, not Doom. They haven't done Galactus right. Let's do Galactus right.
Yeah,
and also
let's do an actual big purple cartoony version of him first, because that fits the style they're doing.
Right. Also, what this movie looks like is going to happen, this is my guess, and everyone's guessing this, is Galactus is going to, because a lot of the trailers are like, because they showed a trailer at CinemaCon, and it was like, we love you, the Fantastic Four, you're awesome, the Fantastic Four, man, we're so good at saving this planet, Fantastic Four, and they obviously have been announced to be in Doomsday, so the theory is that their universe is essentially going to get destroyed by Galactus, or it's going to get destroyed in some way.
kind of what I assumed they were going to do. I kind of just assumed that they were in this version of things instead of Galactus being a world eater. I just assumed he was going to be a multiverse eater,
or something
where
like
it's like
that.
he pops into the like the universe that he's about to consume, and
Yeah,
so he's going to consume theirs, which is why they end up in the main Marvel universe.
but
That was my assumption.
Doctor Doom is gonna walk through a portal and be in a post-credit scene in that movie. He just is.
I mean, well,
I
yeah,
will guarantee you.
I my suspicion, or what I could believe they will do, is they'll do it where, yeah, Galactus does his thing throughout the movie, ends up destroying their world, and like they escape into the Marvel universe, and either they'll have it be where the portal will open and Robert Downey Jr. will step out, having just escaped Galactus in his world, thus linking it all together,
I can
or
see that.
he'll be from the same world as them, and it'll be he also escaped to this world.
Yeah, but yeah, he's gonna be in the end of that movie. Like
Yeah.
I especially can guarantee you that because they've already started filming Doomsday. Like they're already filming it, and like set photos have already leaked to people in costume. So like yeah, and the Fantastic Four movie doesn't come out to July, so it won't take long to shoot a scene with Robert Downey Jr. and they're in that movie. So it wouldn't take much to shoot, edit, and put together a post-credit scene before that movie comes out and stick it as a tag at the end of that, all the way in July.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much,
No, it would be
especially
very
these
easy.
days.
Right? What's this? Oh, I didn't
Still
know
don't love that. Still don't love that they brought Robert Downey Jr. back though.
Not a fan. So apparently, Jordan, they were gonna make a Little Shop of Horrors reboot based on the movie, and it got canceled.
Who was making it? Warner Brothers, because they cancel fucking everything.
I don't know.
$10 says it's Warner Brothers.
This article does not say. So Jordan, I thought fun game. What musical would you this musical now doesn't exist, but you get to replace it with a totally new one. What do you replace it with?
Little Shop of Horrors. That's the one with the plant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can replace all the cast. That's hard, man. There's
I mean, you can replace it with any musical you want and do it any way you want. But it's a movie.
Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
So they canceled the Little Shop of Horrors movie, so that movie doesn't exist now. So you're gonna replace it with a new movie musical.
Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, it took my brain a second to get there. That's an interesting question. Well, we've already got Dear Evan Hansen.
The musical has to exist, though. It can't be a made-up musical.
I mean, all musicals are made up.
But I mean, it can't be a fictitious. It has to be exist in the real world musical.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not creative enough to think up a made up musical on the spot anyway. So
you can't be like Star Wars the musical.
I think. I mean, no. Although that would be an interesting choice, but no. I already have one in mind. It's The Man Who Doesn't Like Musicals.
Oh, it's a solid choice. That's a really good choice. That might be better than my choice, which I was gonna say Be More Chill, because that musical is already 2/3 Little Shop of Horror.
Yeah, no, I think The Man Who Doesn't Like Musical would be a better.
That's a pretty solid.
Would
choice.
be a better one. Personally,
it's a pretty solid choice.
And it works well in the movie medium.
It does. Jordan. Or
at least it could.
They're making an I Am Legend 2. And it's going to have...
I see. That's the one with Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where he's the crazy guy or whatever.
Yeah, it's based off of the
I don't remember how that one ends. Does it end in a way which lends for a sequel?
It depends. The theatrical cut, no. In the theatrical cut, he blows himself up. There's an alternate ending where he lives, and that's what this sequel is based on.
Got it. Okay. I don't remember really having much. The first one was fine. I
liked it, but I never.
I'm not really thinking we need. Yeah, well, I mean, especially however many years later. When did the original one come out?
I want to say 2007, 2008.
Keep talking and I'll let you know.
2007.
Yep,
Yeah.
2007.
So the question
it's another example. I think to me, it's another example of a sequel that has come way too late.
Oh, for sure. But the question is Michael B. Jordan Will Smith's son in the movie?
Let's say yes.
Because it just feels like the obvious direction, right?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Probably.
Interesting. Wow, we're both wrong. Apparently, Will Smith confirms that Michael B. Jordan is in fact not his son in the sequel.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, all right then. He is.
Well, there you go. Don't you know?
He's the head of a new settlement. Oh, all right then. Okay. All right.
Well,
all right.
That's cool. Interesting, even.
Interesting, even. Apparently, that live action Tangled remake is.
Boo.
It got canceled, Jordan. So we say.
Yay!
Wait, hold on. We say to that now. Together now. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Yay!
No. That was the wrong one. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Yay!
No. Okay, no. Try one more time. Third time. Now here we go. 1, 2, 3. Good.
Good. Yay!
Yay! Good job, Disney. You did the correct thing. That was objectively the correct
thing. Get to
thing.
the live-action sequels.
Take it back to formula. Just out of nowhere, Mickey springs out like back to formula. Take it back to formula. That's what I'm saying.
No more. If you're gonna do the fucking live action remakes, do the ones that were bad the first time and then do them good.
Right. Do like a Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Or like no, that would be a horrifying abomination.
It would, and it would make it amazing.
Never do that. No, do like a Treasure Planet or like a Treasure Planet.
Or like
I would actually like to see that one live action.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Do Tarzan, I dare you.
No, I don't think they can legally.
I know, that's why I say I dare you.
Or they should do the Atlantis.
Justin, they're rich enough; they could pay any fines they would have to pay.
They should do Atlantis, but they should just have the original cast be all the characters, so Michael J. Fox can be Milo.
I mean, I think we're a little past that, but yeah, I would like to see. That's another one where a live action one would be fun. You're right. But the point is that there are ones which they could do live action for, which I actually think would be like interesting. Because to see some actual practical, like the crystals that they have, and like in Atlantis and stuff, like the way Atlantis actually looks, to see that in live action, I actually think would be interesting.
See, I'm kind of for, and this might be a controversial take. I'm kind of for them doing the bad straight-to-DVD Disney movies.
I mean,
I kind of want them.
Could be interesting.
I kind of want them to do Belle's Magical Christmas and do the pipe organ and have it be like intentionally really scary.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, get like a Tim Curry, I don't know who you get that's even close to Tim Curry, but
there is no one close to Tim Curry. He is an icon.
Bring back Emma Watson, release it around Christmas, do it. Or I'm just saying, I would watch Lion King 2. Like if you did that, but you don't put Andy Dick in it, and it's actually good, and you have the original songs, but you do a few new ones, I'd watch that. Or like.
My point is just stop ruining the classics.
Or
stop ruining the classics.
At one point, Disney had announced they were going to do Return of Jafar.
Instead of doing necessarily the straight to DVD remakes that already existed, just make new ones, like new equivalents where you have the characters and it's a new story. Make new stories, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like if you want to do the live action stuff, like you instead of, for example, if they did like a Lion King one, instead of just doing it in this alternate world where they hadn't done the live action or the photorealistic Lion King, instead of doing the photorealistic Lion King, just jump straight to a new story with the characters. We already have the original ones. You can just do a continuation in a different style.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. They want it to look like the thing you know, so that you go watch it.
But it can look like the thing you know with characters that you know, but it's a different story.
Yeah, no, executives don't get that. They're dumb.
That's because the sheep keep going to these things.
But I suppose. I mean, apparently not.
Except they didn't like Snow White because they were stupid and racist.
I cannot say if it's because of racism. I think a great many people it was about racism. I don't think it was about racism for everybody.
Sexism, racism, combination, stupidity.
Yeah, not all of them were. I mean, apparently the movie was also bad. We'll find out when that movie comes to Disney Plus. That's God intended.
Where I will watch it, as God intended.
It's God intended. And then we will have Haley on our podcast, and then she can complain about it some more, and then she can get mad at me.
To her heart's delight.
To her heart's delight. George, remember that movie that we talked about, The Naked Gun?
I recognize the name.
Was
that something you talked about? Was that something you talked about last time? Because I wasn't completely conscious last time.
No, it was. I talked about it way before time, and I was describing it to you, and you and I went. You have no idea what the Naked Gun is, do you? Or you have no idea who Leslie Nielsen is, do you?
And I still don't, apparently.
He's The Naked Gun. What else? Airplane. You know the movie Airplane, where the clip where he's like, "Surely you can't be serious." He's like, "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley."
I'm aware of the scene.
That guy, the guy with white hair. He's also, you know that parody of Spider-Man, where it's Drake Bell and he's the Dragonfly.
Yes.
He's Uncle Ben. That guy.
I see.
Like,
okay.
He's the guy who's in all of the later scary movies.
What?
I suppose you could just Google Leslie Nielsen.
What's his name?
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie
Nielsen. We're doing this live, folks.
Leslie Nielsen. There. Oh, him.
Yes. He made a movie called The Naked Gun, where he was a cop, and O.J. Simpson.
Isn't he also the guy? No, that's never mind. That's someone else.
Yeah, and O.J. Simpson was in it, and I don't think I've ever actually seen the full first one, but they made a sequel with Seth MacFarlane made a sequel with. What's his name? Liam Neeson. Made a sequel with Liam Neeson, and it looks really funny.
That's the thing I keep seeing clips for. Got it. Okay. Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, and the joke is that Liam Neeson is his son. It looks really funny. Liam Neeson has a great sense of humor, and when he plays it straight, it's very funny. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna go to theaters to watch, but I'll check it out when it comes to streaming.
On streaming as God intended.
As God intended. So, okay. As you may notice, we don't have a Minecraft review for you, and that's because we couldn't be bothered. Jordan, we couldn't be bothered, right?
Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't really afford it at the time.
Yeah,
we'll watch it. Watch it eventually.
As it turns out, it was the correct decision because teenagers and kids be awful, and I guess to my basic understanding are freaking the fuck out and in Minecraft at moments and like screaming chicken jockey and throwing popcorn, and people are saying it's like this generation's
it's become this whole fucking stupid ass thing.
Yeah, people are saying it's like this generation's Rocky Horror Picture Show, and so they're apparently doing special chicken 4DX chicken jockey streams where fans will be allowed to scream and yell to their heart's content. Which, like, I'm for that. If you want to do that, if you want to have a special place where you can go do that, and I can have my place where you shut the fuck up, I'm for that.
I mean, on the one hand, I'm for that. On the other hand, I think they should all just be escorted out and banned from the premises forever, so that events like this could never happen. Instead of encouraging them and showing them that their bad behavior is going to be rewarded with a thing that will accommodate their bad behavior, I think we
I
should be having a no nonsense approach to this and not fucking reward them for destroying and throwing popcorn and being general nuisances.
I don't
But
disagree.
that's just the grumpy old man in me who doesn't want children to have fun.
I don't disagree, but also like they already have special screenings for children, so this just would be another one of those.
Yeah, sure, but again, where they can throw popcorn, cause mayhem, and make
Well,
life for the theater staff more difficult.
I suppose the throwing popcorn part of it will probably be discouraged, but it's more just the yelling chicken jockey. So you can yell chicken jockey when you want to yell chicken jockey.
Which is at the part where the chicken jockey showed up.
I assume I have no idea what any of those words mean. I mean, I individually know what they mean. I'm not a child. I know what a chicken and a jockey is. I don't know what these words are together because I am an adult.
Well, I know, I've seen in the trailer, there's a scene where Jack Black is about to fight a chicken jockey. It's a character from the game.
I understand. Okay. Now that you said that, now I know what it is. But prior to that, I have no idea because I don't play that game.
Screaming, the part where they're screaming chicken jockey is the part where that shows up in the movie, and there was the whole article that I read that I know of was like you have people that were throwing popcorn, or people that were bringing like what's that thing where you hold it, silly string, like they were just like creating a mess and being a nuisance, and like there were families that are going to watch this that can't, like, the point is that it wasn't all kids, it was like teenagers who were doing this, who were stopping actual families who were going to watch this movie from being able to finish their movie because like they're throwing pop and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think that should be rewarded.
I'm just saying, look, hey, if you know that it's going to happen, like, either way, much rather have a separate space for them to do it and, like, not be a nuisance. That's all I'm saying.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. You should have staff members, and like at this point, they know what time that point in the movie is going to show up. You should have staff members in the theater at that point who are removing the people that are doing that and banning them from the premises.
You don't have that. It's not your job to. You can be like shh, but you can't like you can call the cops. But
yes,
they're gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna be like no. No.
Like, behavior like that should not be rewarded, is my point.
To be fair, people would say that's them being spirited, and, like, yeah, they do when it comes to, like, Rocky Horror Picture Show, have special screenings for that movie where people throw spoons and, like, I think they throw rice or throw bread at certain scenes. So, like, to have, like, special screenings where, yeah, the movie theater staff knows...
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that. I don't think that behavior should be rewarded.
Where the movie theater knows that that's what's gonna happen, and they're prepared to. And honestly, I think silly string's probably easier to clean up than popcorn. If you give people some silly string and let them shoot some silly string and yell a bit, in a controlled environment, as opposed to, like, yeah, you're right, surrounded by people who actually want to watch the movie. Like, they're gonna do it either way. At the very least, you could be like, hey, just go do it over there. Like, that's my thing.
That's where we agree to disagree. I don't think it should be encouraged, and I think that they should be punished for it.
I mean, you can't punish them for it.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, sure.
You can ban them from ever going to the theater again.
No, that's just people having fun. That seems a tad excessive.
No, that's where we agree to disagree.
Jordan, did you see the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer?
I saw a GT Live where they watched the trailer. I didn't actually watch it myself, but I have thus, through osmosis, seen it.
Is there a longer version of it, the longer than the 37-second version?
The version that they watched, I think, was 52 seconds.
Okay, then we watched the same version, where you just kind of see what looks like a different Freddy now? There's a different Freddy?
Yeah, you see what appears to be Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and you see Mangled in the trailer, from what I saw.
So is Toy Freddy different from the Freddy in the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
In terms of okay, so this is where it's going to be interesting to see what they do because, and this is where the immediately in the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, things got complicated because, as it's been thoroughly discussed as I understand it, Freddy 2, the game, is actually in the timeline before Freddy. I might be getting this wrong.
But you see Josh
Um,
Hutcherson in the movie trailer, so it clearly
that's
takes
where
place
I say that.
afterwards.
That's where I say the movies will clearly be different from like what the game's lore is, and it'll be interesting to see what
But
they do.
this new Freddy is a different ghost child.
In the originals, like in the games and stuff, I don't know if they ever actually. I think so, but I don't know if they ever actually say. I just know that in the terms of the lore, the toy animatronics were created with technology inside them, which would allow them to like see the children, and that's where the puppet also comes in, and it's supposed to like it has the security tags on the children to make sure that children aren't going out. So actually, Freddy 2 was a sequel in the games. Maybe it was Freddy 3, which is different. I don't know. It's all complicated and it's hard to keep track of. There are people who are much more successful than me who do FNAF lore for a living, so I'm not going to even attempt to toss my hat in that ring. Um, but yeah, it'll be an interesting one. The practical effects still look good.
Yeah, man, they do. They do. Look, I thought, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I stand by it, that the last movie was really, really bad. But I had a great time. And I will go have a great time with the second one.
So here's the thing. If you know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, at least this is my opinion, then in terms of writing, the movie is pretty on par with like the books, any story that you get out of Five Nights at Freddy. It's pretty on par with it being a confused, unexplained jumble of a mess.
It's just an absolute mess.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it felt like Five Nights at Freddy's. The characters felt like the characters. They looked like the characters. Like the practical effects were all there in the first one. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see with what they do with a second one. It'll also be interesting to see if it's like more violent or like as violent. Are they still kind of go for that like we see things off screen but we never actually see it? Like
Josh Hutcherson promised more violent, but who's to say?
it'll be interesting to see. So yeah, we will watch that one with great interest.
With great interest, and then finally, like an
or at least passing interest. My question is will Ness be back? Are we gonna get to see Sir Matthew Patrick back?
Obviously. There needs to be a running subplot where he goes and he gets a promotion and now he's a manager. He's no longer a waiter. He's a manager now.
That would be funny. No, see, what I kind of hope is I hope we get a couple flashback scenes where we get to see Five Nights or Freddy Fazbear's open, and like Ness is there.
He's like
somehow.
He got let go, and that's why he's that's
why he's at the diner.
That's why he's at the diner. I just
like
these
it's
movies
like
need
2 years,
running...
2 years before or something. Yeah, 2 or 3 years before, and he's there, and he's like a staff at the counter or something.
It's just like he's just like a regular guy, and nothing really. He's just like a normal, completely normal person. Like I just want to see this like running character arc throughout these movies. Where by like the third one, yeah, he's now like the GM of that restaurant. You know, he's in charge now.
But see, the third one, Justin, if it's like the games, then we'll jump ahead like 20 years, and it'll be in the future when everything's all run down.
He'll have his own restaurant now,
and then he'll be running Fazbear Frights.
Yeah.
The horror attraction based on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay, Jordan, like a senior pet that you refuse to put down. American Dad, Family Guy, The Simpsons, and Bob's Burgers have been renewed For Jordan, you're never gonna guess how many seasons.
No, 40.
Say again. You said that really.
The Simpsons are going until the 40th season.
Well, okay. How many? A number. Give me a rough number. How many seasons do you think more?
4.
Yeah, it's 4. 4 more seasons. Yeah, that.
I know. I saw that, and it made me roll my eyes. Although I want to say the only one, because you said a old pet that needs to be put down. The only show which I personally don't think fits into that category yet, it's not quite there, is Bob's Burgers.
I mean, it's getting there. It's in the double digits. I'm pretty sure. Wait, what season on Bob's Burger? What season are they on? What does this article say? I'm pretty sure they're in the double digits.
I think they're on 15th.
Yeah, and like Family Guy is like on its 20th.
That's not this. To me, 15th is not the same as 36.
I mean, oh yeah, I don't know. That's still a lot of television. But you're right.
Sure,
it's not as quite as geriatric as The Simpsons is. I'll give you that.
Like I would say, like, if we're giving ages, The Simpsons is like 80. Yeah, like it's like 80. It needs to be like it needs to be in a home. You need to stop making it work. Family Guy, and like American Dad, they're like 60. Yeah. Like they're old. They maybe have like a year or two left before they really should stop working. Bob's Burger, I think, is like in its 50s.
Yeah.
Like it's old, but it's not old enough that it can't work for another 10 years.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, yeah, okay, fine. I'll give you. Although I don't know.
Not 10, you know what I mean. Yeah. Like reasonably, like
10 more seasons.
Another like 4, maybe 5. But like that I could see. But
I understand why this has been extended by so long, because animation takes a while. So like that's why they renew them in such big chunks. But like, yeah, one of the
I don't agree with that assessment, because like shows like oh my god, why am I blanking on its name? Rick and Morty. Those only get renewed by, or like
Rick and Morty. No, Rick and Morty got a big batch, like 140 episode order that they're still not through. Something like that. My numbers may be off. But
Invincible, like or like shows like that, though, are only one season at a time.
Yeah, those tend to get renewed. Like, yeah, by the time the third ones come out, they usually announce it. But yeah, that's because they're streaming shows, and streaming shows suck. Technically speaking, Simpsons and Family Guy.
Simpsons and that are streaming shows too.
They're still cable.
At this point.
They're technically still cable. They still go out to cable. Yeah. Like American Dad's going. It was on TBS. It's going back to Fox for the first time in I can't remember how many years, but it's been a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's gonna be interesting because, like, for whatever reason on TBS you can say shit. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. When we were talking about Miracle Workers, they could say shit shoveler. That's a TBS show. American Dad on TBS, they can say shit.
So here's the question.
They can't say the F word, but they can say shit.
Do you think when the actors who play all the characters on The Simpsons die, that they'll finally let the show die?
I think.
Or are they just going to use AI to replace all the voices and keep the show going forever?
Seemingly they'll recast, because the woman who plays, I don't remember all the characters she plays, but they just announced one of the characters they recasted was Jimbo. Patricia McNeil. Hold on.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, so seemingly they'll recast, and I mean that's what they did with.
That's upsetting. They will literally never cancel The Simpsons then.
Pamela Hayden, who played. She was Milhouse.
Ew, gross. So Milhouse sounds wrong now.
Milhouse. Well, I don't know if they've recast Milhouse, but they recast the Jimbo the bully.
Well, if that's the person that plays the same character, then yes, they will have to have replaced Milhouse if it's one person.
Oh yeah, no. What I'm saying is though I don't know if the person doing the Jimbo voice is also doing Milhouse. Like I don't know if it's the same situation or if it's going to be a different actress or actor.
Well, my point is that's
maybe like
that's an irrelevant. That's an irrelevant statement. My statement is that Milhouse will sound wrong because it's not the person that's played them for the past 40 years.
Yeah, maybe look at a suitable sound alike.
Who who they get to play it is irrelevant. It's now not the right voice, no matter what.
They might find a suitable sound-alike.
They can have the best sound-alike in the world, but it won't sound right because it's not the same voice.
I mean, okay.
And that's really sad to hear because it means that the Simpsons will never. That means the Simpsons will never die because as these other voice actors, as Homer goes away, they'll just get a Homer sound-alike and keep the show going.
Here's what I will say. If the Simpsons could go the way of the Hanna Barbera characters, we're going to talk about them in a moment. But in the sense
where they become timeless,
where it's like there's like five there was like 5 different people ish, 3 or 4 different people who played Yogi Bear, and it all sounds like Yogi Bear. The same thing with like Fred Flintstone or like those guys. If someone could, there is someone out there who can do a halfway. There's tons of them. You see them on the internet all the time of people who can do like really good impressions of these characters. Like a really good example is there's a guy who does. I can't remember what the name of the. Maybe I'll put it in the description. I'll tell you later once I look it up. But he does Goku. He does an impersonation of Goku that was so good that Sean Schimmel threatened to sue him, and he had to like actually message or Sean Schimmel thought he was AI, and so he had to actually message Sean Schimmel like, yeah, no, that's me. It's not AI.
I mean, that's great. In terms of The Simpsons, that's not really my point. My point is they've done everything.
No.
It's not like a Flintstones where there's things that they could still do. They've done everything with The Simpsons.
Yeah, but my point
even if they have a person that can just replace the character, the show needs to die. It needs to go away for like a period of time.
I do think that show needs to be retired. But, I mean, to be fair, there's people out there who believe with The Simpsons specifically. When it comes to Family Guy, I don't think there's any heart left in it. I still think there's heart in American Dad, which is why I'm not against American Dad. Family Guy, Simpsons, there's definitely new life being breathed into it with new writers. My issue isn't with the writing. I actually think I saw an episode recently that made me laugh. For me, it's the voices are like, they all sound tired. And, like, yeah, if you could find, like, for example, a really good Marge sound-alike that is indiscernible, and the writing is so sharp, why not?
For certain characters, for me, there are easy workarounds for how you could continue The Simpsons and have new people playing, like for example, like Lisa, without having to have it be an exact sound-alike. Age them.
Yeah.
Have it be where like the next season or whatever. Bart's in the what grade is he always in? 4th grade?
Yeah.
5th grade? 6th grade or whatever. And so now his voice can sound slightly older. You can have a boy come in and be Bart.
Yeah.
Like an actual boy come in and be Bart, and he can sound a bit different, and it won't be as jarring because instead of having him try to be the same eternal ageless character, you age them and you change it.
Or like another example of like
apparently part of your Broadway world is of the firm opinion that I assume she means The Simpsons and not The Simmons, but The Simpsons just needs to end. I agree.
Another great example of like characters which hey, if you get someone who can do it well, you don't really care. Is when we recently talked about the Daffy Duck Porky Pig movie where his Daffy Duck is so good. And you're like, yeah, I could see The Simpsons elevating to that level of like they're that timeless. Where you have people in the future who eventually, when Dan Castellaneta retires, he'll have a Goofy or a Mickey, where it's a character that you can pass on. I can see them moving into pop culture in that way.
I would agree.
Them specifically.
I would agree if The Simpsons hadn't had 36 continuous, never-ending, never-stopping seasons of television that have been on since the 80s.
Yeah.
I would agree. The reason to me, because I understand what you're saying, but there is a distinction between the two where the like Bugs Bunny, Daffy, and them, and Mickey and Goofy and them. They've had a presence. Like they've been in individual projects for that period of time, but they haven't been in one long, continuous, overarching, never-ending story, which has never stopped. There's a difference between the two, in my opinion.
I mean,
So
yeah.
in order for me, for the Simpsons to be able to be reinvent like re they it needs to stop and go away for a bit, and then you can bring it back and you can make them into timeless characters, but you need to give them some time so that they can turn into that, if that makes sense.
I certainly don't
also
think 4 more seasons.
Also, part of your Broadway world says, stupid typo. Yes, I meant The Simpsons. It's gone on for too many seasons. And that's my point. Like, if it had been like, if you had had some breaks, if you had been like even 10 seasons, and then you went away for like 5 years or something, and then came back and then made more of the show. Like, it's because it's been one long, continuous stretch of never stopping, never taking a break, never doing anything else, or putting the characters in anything else. Like, the biggest thing that The Simpsons have done that's been different was their movie, which was just it just felt like an episode of the show.
I will say, hey man, if people still watch those shows enough to keep them on the air, good for them. Good.
Part of your Broadway world says, at least Family Guy changes their story arcs to make it more interesting. That's kind of the thing. Is like, I don't know that I agree with that, but
they all have the same 5 stories.
That's the thing about the Simpsons, though. Is it's been.
I will say, Family Guy hasn't been afraid to take their characters. Like, they do shift their characters a little bit, so like they're not all the same. I mean, to be fair, The Simpsons and modern Simpsons has tried to do that. They've tried to make some swings, but it's like it's kind of feeling like, yeah, you know what, this would have been interesting 10 years ago, but like now it's like, okay, yeah, that's why I'm like, the writing is still sharp. Like, apparently, I don't watch it a ton, but I see it in isolated clips, and it's like, yeah, it's funny, it's good stuff.
And I guess also the difference for me with The Simpsons, I would say it's
comparable to old Simpsons.
I would say that it would struggle for me to turn them into like the same feeling that the Looney Tunes. They already do. They already evoke those emotions. They're timeless. You could stop making it, and there's 36 seasons of television that you could have on syndication and on streaming and on all these other things that make them just like that. They are like the Looney Tunes. They are like Mickey Mouse. They are a presence that have always been around and will always be around in the things they've already created.
I mean,
they don't need to go on.
They are doing like them in shorts and stuff, but we got so wildly away from the point of like, you could find a suitable voice match for Milhouse that would be in I don't think that they've really nailed it with the guy who's doing Carl. But
the thing is, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I don't think the bully characters necessarily, but it'd be a shame to see Milhouse go away. Although, I mean, I think you're in a place where you could maybe introduce a new best friend character and write Milhouse out. You could try it. I mean like, they have made continuity changes on that show. Like, I saw was watching a newer episode that had to turn off because I was lost, because out of nowhere, comic book guy has a wife who's an Asian woman. It was very strange.
I mean, my point was more just hashtag cancel The Simpsons.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily 100% for that, but I am if you are. You've
been for that for decades, and you're now all of a sudden fucking flipping on me? Who the fuck are you, and what have you done with Justin? Get the fuck out of here.
What I'm saying is if hashtag make the Simpsons movie 2 and end it that way.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that. But I don't want until the 40th fucking season before we do it.
4 seasons is kind of an odd number. I always, every year I'm surprised when they're like, yeah, we're making more. I'm like, oh, right, okay. Anyway.
Do a Simpsons do a Simpsons movie, Have it be where Bart finally graduates to the fifth grade, and then that way it doesn't just fall into the trap of it's something they could do on the show, because they would never have them get older on the show.
It's true.
Have it be that they're finally getting older. Have that be the point, and then have the final scene of the movie have like a time jump or something, or like a montage where we see them through the years, and then we don't have that like that Harry Potter final scene where they're on like where we see them grown up. We just have the montage of them growing older, and that's the final scene in the movie, and it cuts to black.
All right, I accept that. On to the sponsorship section, Jordan. Today's episode, I forgot to put it in the description, which I will do later when this episode ends. Is brought to you by Audible. See, I don't know if you guys recall how last week we said our power was out. Well, while our power was out, I finished listening to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on Audible. And the quality is good. I'm also listening to Ready Player One on Audible, narrated by Will Wheaton. And Will Wheaton. And if you use the clip that will eventually be in the description of this video, you get a credit to pick anything you want to listen to for free.
Once a month.
Once a month you get a free credit, but when you sign up, you immediately get a credit.
And the thing about Audible that I mean, I listen to it daily, and it keeps track of where you are in your books, not just on one book, but all of your books. Any book that you start, it will keep track of. And so it's gone are the days where you have to have 17 bookmarks to keep track of all the books that you're listening to, because now this service will just do that for you. There are so many books on there with good solid people who are reading it. And this is a cool feature. If you pay for, let's say, several months of Audible, collect a series of books, and then are like, you know what, I can't afford to pay this month, and you cancel your service, you still get access to the books you already got, no matter what. Exactly. Those are yours now.
Crystal clear audio. Sign up for audible.com. It's great for when you don't have any power and you have nothing better to do.
Using our link in the description below,
because it helps the show do better and be a better show. It helps the show. That's way better. It helps the show grow.
Use Take Two.
Use Take Two. Take Two is better. I like Take Two better. On with the show. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring the show.
Cut. Print. Back to show.
Back to show. So, man, the news, Jordan. We just did the news for almost an hour. It's because when we did the show on Monday, we ran through the news in 25 minutes, and we were like, we could do this, overdo this, because we overdo this. Today,
I mean, more just you got me talking about The Simpsons and ranting about how there shouldn't be 40 seasons, and that's going to be a video.
That is going to be a video. Jordan,
and I can see the title now. Die, Simpsons, die!
No, it's pronounced D.
And
Simpsons, D.
And then brackets. God damn it! The Simpsons has been renewed till season 40.
So this week you saw the title. It's a Hanna Barbera special, everybody, and a Hanna Barbera special. It's there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I discovered with Hanna Barbera is there's nothing really nutritious. It's just nutrients. There's no real flavor or real taste to it. It's real inoffensive. It's all right. That's what the Hanna Barbera cartoons are. For me,
what I found is they have one or two hit star characters that they very much rely on, and the rest are just there to fill up the gaps.
That's pretty much it. And they're all variations of the three characters that they have. And for me, as a child, Hanna Barbera, it was the thing you watched when there was nothing else on, and it filled time. So Yogi Bear.
It was the thing you put on when you didn't have Disney.
It's 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock on a weeknight. There's nothing really else on. Oh, hey, Yogi Bear is on. Or it's right before school. There's nothing else on. Oh, hey, it's Scooby-Doo. That's not to say that I realized how much Scooby-Doo influenced my life. We're going to get there. But that's effectively my intro to Hanna Barbera. So I figured we'd start with what I'm calling the wacky and safe world of Hanna Barbera cartoons. Maybe I'll change the title, but I want to talk about the shows. I want to talk about the television shows in a mini self-contained rapid fire within rapid fire. So Jordan, how many shows did you watch?
I only watched 2 episodes of the Jetsons.
Oh, you don't watch any more shows? That's okay. I got a bunch that you watched that we'll test to see if you remember.
Hey man, I wanted to watch more shows. I really did. But do you know how difficult it
No, Jordan, we don't have time for this.
But yeah, it was so
we don't have time. We don't have time for your Apple. You know what? If enough people sign up for or if we hit 150 subscribers, Jordan will do a big Apple TV rant.
I'll do it.
There.
Believe me, I will do
150 subscribers, Jordan will get on here and do a big Apple TV rant.
Well, we'll certainly record a video that maybe we'll upload.
No, he'll do it live in an episode of the podcast.
Okay, maybe. We'll see. Anyways, this is going to be mostly on you then, other than the 2 episodes of the Jetsons that I watched on YouTube.
Yes, but I feel like you're going to remember Scooby-Doo. So, your 2 episodes of the Jetsons.
Yeah, I watched what I'm pretty sure was the first episode of the Jetsons, which is the one where they get Rosie.
Probably.
They rent Rosie, which I thought was interesting because I was always like, I didn't realize they were renting her.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I kind of just thought they owned her.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be like middle class,
or like it was like I don't know. Like I kind of thought it was like a Star Wars, where like the droids were alive and like they worked for themselves.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I never really thought about them getting Rosie.
Yeah, like that's where it was interesting. I've never seen that episode because any episode I'd seen, they already had Rosie and Astro.
Yeah,
Astro was not a character in this episode.
Oh, he's not in the first episode.
No, he wasn't. Spacely had never met the family, so he sees Judy and he's like, Jetson has a very young-looking wife, and she's like, "I'm not my mom."
Huh. Interesting.
And yeah, no, it was fun. And then the other one was Judy is on a date or going on a date or something with this musician that George doesn't like because the music is too young sounding and it's like all jazzy and stuff because this came out in the 60s. At one point he's like goes to the concert it was like she wins a concert or something. I don't remember exactly, but he ends up like on the stage and George plays the drums. That's his thing. He likes just playing the drums. And so he ends up on the stage and the band dude is like, "Hey, Daddy-O, like play the drums for us." And George does like the solo on stage and everybody loves it. He's like, now he likes the musician more than Judy does. And yeah, it's silly and it's fun. It's fun. I can see why the Jetsons were as popular as they were.
Funny enough, I don't think they were that popular. I think a lot of these shows only lasted like 1 or 2 seasons, and I think this is one of them. It only lasted like 1 or 2 seasons. It wasn't nearly as popular as like the Flintstones or. I'm
pretty sure the Jetsons has more than 2 seasons.
I'm pretty sure it's only like 2 or 3 seasons. It's not as many as you think. I learned that when I watched the movie. It's not that long running of a show. Like compared to the Flintstones, which had multiple shows and multiple seasons of each of those shows. It's only lasted, which is why they brought in the Flintstones to try to save them, which is what became the Jetsons meet the Flintstones.
Hold on, you keep talking. I'm gonna.
Yeah, the Jetsons are very funny. They're one of those like 60s Hanna-Barbera cartoons, which kind of paint a particular picture of the 1960s as being a particularly safe era of time. They are
3 seasons.
3 seasons, yeah, not that much.
first season had 24 episodes, second season had 41 episodes, and the 10th season, or the third season, only had 10 episodes. Also, as an aside, and this explains a lot, the reason why we probably know mostly the second and third season is because that's the season that's in syndication.
Yep.
First season is not.
Yeah, that's the thing with Hanna Barbera cartoons is they were cheap and easy to run into syndication, and they're great for blotting out block to television when you need to take up time, because, and this is the thing about I discovered about Hanna Barbera cartoons is a lot of them are like characters from previous shows that now have Yogi Bear didn't start off with his own show. He was a character on the Huckleberry Hound show, and the Huckleberry Hound show would break up into 3 segments: the Yogi Bear one, the Huckleberry Hound one, and I believe it's Yankee Doodle. The horse one, yeah, Yankee Doodle, I believe is what his name is. No, I think Yankee Doodle is the duck. Anyway, yeah, the horse guy. Quick Draw McGraw, that's what it is. But they all start off as characters on, and then Huckleberry was a character on Quick.
A dog too.
Yeah. Well, and then Quick, I believe Huckleberry Hound was a character on Quick Draw McGraw show. Anyway, so when we used to watch it, I used to think it was the Yogi Bear show, but it was in fact we were watching the Huckleberry Hound show, and the Huckleberry Hound Yogi Bear is different. Like, what's interesting about a lot of those characters is they all start off as parodies. So he's a parody of the guy from the Honeymooners, and that's why he talks like this, because that's how the guy from the Honeymooners talks.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so those initial shorts are just mostly Yogi by himself. He's just a kind of a guy who's a bear, and like Boo Boo shows up occasionally, but most of them are like an animal needs Yogi's help, or Yogi's running away from a hunter. There's a number of episodes where it's Yogi's running away from a hunter, or he's like trying to help a little baby animal, but he doesn't have the desire for food, like only in the same way as like a regular bear would. So there's one episode where like they're trying to get honey from a beehive, but no picnic baskets. That doesn't happen until the Yogi Bear show, which is where Snagglepuss is from. Which, if you're not familiar with Snagglepuss, he's a pink tiger. He's like stage left even.
Is he a panther?
Yeah, panther. Well, they call him a tiger in his cartoons. Heavens to Murgatroyd, because most of his cartoons are about, once again, a hunt. He's basically gay Bugs Bunny. Like every one of his shorts is there's a hunter, and the hunter wants to get him, and he runs away from the hunter. That's pretty much all of his shorts, at least all the ones I watched. And then on Yogi Bear's show, there's the third one, which is like it's about a little duckling, which I believe is called Yankee Doodle, and he basically just sounds like Daffy Duck, not Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, but like old Donald Duck, like the first Donald Duck, that Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Clarence Nash, that Donald Duck. It's him doing what is effectively, and all of his shorts are he shows up to somebody's place and just gaslights them. Like he shows up, like the first one is like he shows up at this big scary dog, and like the dog is like, yeah, you gotta go. And he's like, oh, but if I go, I'm gonna starve, and I'm so alone. And then the second one is he befriends a little baby kangaroo and weasels his way into becoming a kangaroo's like kid. He's like, oh, she's like, oh, you have to go now. And he's like, oh, well, if I go out there, imagine this with like a Donald Duck voice. I'll be so alone. And that's all of his sketches. He's just a little terror. And then I also, yes, Scooby-Doo. Jordan, you obviously remember Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
For reasons that will become evident later, I wanted to watch a couple episodes of Scooby-Doo. So I watched the first 2 episodes. And just the funniest bit is where Freddy's like, hey, let's split up. And I'm as Shaggy. I was like, whoa, I'm sorry, 3 of you? And they don't even split up 2 and 2. They split up 3 and like Shaggy or Velma, Freddy, and Daphne, and then Shaggy and Scooby. And it's like, whoa, I'm sorry, you're just gonna leave me with the dog? No, sorry, Scooby, no offense. You're gonna leave me with the dog? There's 3 of you! You could at least... No, seriously, Scooby, no offense. You could give me... Velma! I mean, you could give me
one human. Which, to be fair, from what I remember in that one in particular, I think in later episodes, Velma and Shaggy do team... Velma and Shaggy do team up sometimes.
Team them up sometimes.
But yeah, no.
I very much realized, though, when I was watching it, I wanted to watch more. I only managed to watch 3 episodes. But it's where I got my, like, need to have a reason. Everything
there has to be a logical explanation.
There's always a logical explanation. There's always a reasonable explanation for something. Because that's what that show is. It's I don't know if it's designed to teach that to kids, but it was effective because it's the reason why I'm so discerning when it comes to information. Because I'm like, yeah, at the end of the show, I think I watched the first episode. It just ends with them being like eating just out of a malt shop, just being like, and here's all of the reasonable explanations for this bad thing that happened. It's really funny. But what's interesting is, like, at least in that first season, it doesn't appear like they're intentionally seeking out mysteries, but no, they just showed up for a day at the lake, and there happened to be a ghost there. And then finally,
which makes it funny that they become known as mystery hunters.
Right. And then finally, the last show I watched this morning, again for reasons that will become apparent later, I watched Top Cat. I can't imagine you know what that is. No. I think he showed up in some of the crossovers, but his whole bit is he is the top cat in the alleyway. He's got a gang of alley cats, and he is ostensibly Yogi, but slightly smarter and a cat. And his whole bit is, they get into shenanigans, and the episode's kind of formatted as it opens with a point that's later in the episode, and then it shows how they got to that point. So, like, the second episode, it opens, they're on a cruise ship, or they're in like a ship's hold, or that might have been the first episode. Sorry, that's the first episode. They're in like a ship's hold, and they find money, and then it does the theme song, and you find out how they wound up in that ship's hold and where they got the money. And it turns out that the money that they found is counterfeit money, and a criminal snuck the money on, and one of the guys in the gang member won a trip to Hawaii, and the reason why they're on the boat is because the rest of the gang tried to sneak onto the boat so they could also go to Hawaii. And the whole thing with Top Cat is he's like really charming and really smart. Like, that's his whole bit. He's like he talks like this, he's like a hustler kind of guy. He wears a fedora. And so he manages to they have a running gag where he's like, oh yes, you have a wonderful voice, but with the acoustics being what they are, I need you to back up for me. A little farther now. A little bit farther. And in the first episode, he does it with the dock captain, and the dock captain backs into the water, and then they sneak onto the boat, and it turns out that the money that they found in the cold open is the counterfeit money that they're passing around. And one of the characters on the show is what is this? You remember how Yogi Bear had Ranger Smith?
Yeah.
It's that show's equivalent to Ranger Smith.
It's his Ranger Smith or his Ranger Walrus from Woody Woodpecker, or any of those characters.
Pretty much. And so try to thought, getting back to it. Oh yes, sorry. He winds up on the boat as well. And he's the point was to be like, language evolves, because they refer to the money as in strange, queer money. And then he keeps going, I gotta find that queer, I gotta make sure that cop doesn't see that queer money. And I'm like, oh, language evolves. But it's quite good. It's longer than the Yogi Bear and the Snagglepuss ones.
It's queer money.
And it's 20. The episodes are 23 minutes apiece, and honestly, it's a pretty funny show. I was actually kind of enjoying it. I'm like, this sounds getting pretty good. Top Cat's really fun, and I'm really enjoying it. And as I was talking about Top Cat, I completely forgot The other part of this was I watched a few episodes of, and this is a show you definitely have to remember, Wacky Races and Laugh Olympics. And that's what made me go back and I wanted to watch some of these shows. That's where this was all leading to. I watched an episode here and there of a few things because do you remember let's start with the Laugh Olympics. Do you remember the Laugh Olympics?
So is that the one where they're racing?
No, that's Wacky Races.
The Laugh Olympics, remember Wacky Races. I don't remember the Laugh Olympics.
The Laugh Olympics is you've got the three teams. You've got the Yogi Yahooies, the Scooby Doobies, and the Rotten, and they're all different characters from different shows.
The villain team.
The villain team, yeah. And the villain team. And what's interesting is the Yogis and the Scooby Doobies. They're all from different shows. Like if you look them all up, they're all different characters from different shows. So you've got not only do you have Yogi and Scooby, but you've also got like the Grape Ape. You've got Captain Caveman and the Angels.
I just remember there was a guy who was covered all in hair and he was like a caveman.
That's Captain Caveman, yeah, Captain Caveman. And so what's interesting about Hanna Barbera,
he talked kind of like he had a deeper voice like this.
Yeah. They come in two flavors. They come in the sitcom shows, which is like your Yogi Bears, your Top Cats, and all those guys. Yeah, your Flintstones, your Jetsons. And then you've got your teenage mystery solving shows. And then that's Captain Caveman and the Teenage Angels and Scooby-Doo.
And Johnny Quest.
Which
I didn't watch any of.
No. Now, that was my point. What's interesting about that show is most of the villains on that show are original. They're made exclusively for that show. And do you remember Mumbly and Dick Dastardly being on Laugh Olympics?
I remember there being a dog who was like...
Right, okay. So that's where this gets fascinating. So I remember it being Dick Dastardly, but it's not. It's a different character called like the Baron, and it's not Muttley, but it's Mumbly, who is ostensibly the same character. He's the same character. He does the same bit. The same character, the laughing dog, who was Razzle Frazzle, shows up 3 times in that universe. 3 times. The first time is in Wacky Races. And Wacky Races, I remember being a crossover as well, and it being all the Hanna Barbera characters, but it's not. It's its own thing. And Dick Dastardly and Muttley are from that show, and that show
You said Dread Baron is in the
Laugh Olympics.
Interesting. Dread Baron was in the Yogi one that I watched.
Oh, so that's interesting. Yeah, he's not he's not Dick Dastardly. They retconned it in a comic or something. He's technically Dick Dastardly's brother, but he's not actually Dick Dastardly. And his sidekick is not Muttley, but it's Mumbly. And Mumbly for the Laugh Olympics was turned into a villain. He's actually a good guy character from another show about him, where he solves mysteries. And he's the same character as Muttley. He does all the Razzle Frazzle, he does that. He does all of that. But he solves mysteries.
So yeah, in the Yogi one that I watched, it's Mumbly and Dread Baron.
That's funny, yeah. So they're on live. So I think it has something to do with the licensing. They don't own the rights to Muttley and Dick Dastardly, which is why they're vaguely similar but different.
Interesting.
But Wacky Races is a bunch of different characters, and they all drive. And they're really funny. One of them is a scientist called Pat Pending.
Pat Pending.
Yeah,
that's funny.
There's Dick Dastardly. There's one he's a hillbilly. He's got a bear. He drives with his feet. The one thing about these shows is that is that they suffer from the fact that they came out in the 1960s, so there is some racism. There's a funny episode where Yogi has to be really responsible and prevent a little Indian kid from shooting himself with his bow and arrow.
Yeah, I think you showed me a clip from that one.
But it's just very, and so all Mumbly and Muttley originate from another character who we're going to talk about later. But that was a very long time we spent talking about the Hanna Barbera. Oh, I mean, that's not even mentioned the fact that Hanna Barbera. Sorry, real quick to wrap up, is exceptionally cheap. That is the difference between it and what makes it safe, and what makes it easy, and what makes it easy to run its syndication is it's cheap. Every episode's exactly the same, every single one. So every episode of Wacky Races is they go on a race and there's slight variations. There's the running backgrounds are all the same. It is very cheap. It is made for television. Hanna-Barbera revolutionized animation in the sense that they made it. You were able to do it on television. The reason why Looney Tunes and Disney have a bit more flavor and are a bit more interesting is because their shit mostly went to theaters, especially Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes, a lot of those shorts that we grew up watching, they played in movie theaters. They were theatrical shorts.
They were theatrical ones. Which, to be fair, there were a few Hanna-Barbera theatrical ones, but
Tom and Jerry in particular started off as theatrical shorts. Yeah, there were here and there, and you definitely notice when you see them. But that's Hanna-Barbera television, the wacky, bland, safe world of Hanna-Barbera television. They get much more interesting when they start doing specials in movies. With that, Jordan, what's your next thing?
Yeah, we're gonna my first thing. We're gonna talk about a made-for-TV special, which was part of the Hanna-Barbera Superstars 10 series, which was a bunch of shorts that they did, shorts and specials and stuff like that. First one we're going to talk about is Yogi Bear and the Magical Flight of the Spruce Goose.
Spruce Goose.
Which
I shall call it the Spruce Goose.
Which, of all the ones I'm going to talk about today, is probably the one that I found the hardest to watch. But basically, Yogi takes his friends on a tour of the Spruce Goose, which is a world-famous plane built by billionaire Howard Hughes.
Yep.
While touring, they accidentally start it up, and then, it's your typical TV special where they go from place to place, kind of giving little stories and stuff. So at one point, they're in the Antarctica trying to save these animals. They end up on an island where previously mentioned bad guys are trying to get gold. And it's fine. It's fine. It's always fun getting to see these characters together, but this one's not really anything too special as far as I'm concerned. It's fine. It felt long.
Oh no, it's never a good thing when the cartoon feels long.
What the interesting thing that I'm just learning about it was that it was released in 1987, which I would have guessed earlier. Just based on animation, based on story, I would have thought earlier.
Fair enough.
But it opens up to this song where it's like da 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 da. Future Justin put it in here, and when you hear that and you hear the song and you see the animation, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into for the next hour or hour and 20 or something. I don't remember exactly how long it is. But too long, 92 minutes. You know exactly what you're going to be getting yourself into, and it's pretty much everything that you think it's going to be.
All right. Jordan, is that it?
That's really have to say about Yogi Bear and the Magical Flight of the Spruce Goose.
So okay, when it comes to Hanna-Barbera, look, we've talked about it. I'm really more of a Scooby-Doo guy, and it was really difficult to prevent my list from entirely becoming Scooby-Doo. But I would say that this first movie on my list is not a Scooby-Doo movie. It has a Scooby-Doo title, but it's not a Scooby-Doo movie. It is a movie called Scoop. It came out in 2021, I believe. It is an animated movie, and it's an attempt to be a reboot, where Scooby and Shaggy, upon the advice of Simon Cowell, are upset and they go off on their own, and they get picked up by the Blue Falcon, who is not the Blue Falcon, but in fact the Blue Falcon's son, Brian, and Dynamite, and they are trying to stop Dick Dastardly of Wacky Races from getting 3 skulls so that he may open up the portal to the underworld and free Cerberus. Because, as you find out later in the movie, he accidentally left Muttley in the underworld. And so he's trying to rescue Muttley. And there's a fun cameo where they fight Captain Caveman, and it drastically misunderstands. Its number one flaw is it drastically misunderstands all of the characters it's trying to do. It doesn't understand Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman is played by Tracy Morgan and is completely articulate. It doesn't understand Shaggy or Scooby. Shaggy and Scooby are neither scared. Like, Shaggy sacrifices his life at the end, and Scooby is like he has they have a lot of jokes that are like really articulate. From Scooby, he's way too smart. They play Captain Falcon, Blue Falcon, as cool, and like it really feels like they wanted to make this. It feels more like a Wacky Races movie or a Hanna Barbera movie than it does a Scooby Doo movie. But they were too scared to let it just be its own thing, and so they tried to make it a Scooby Doo movie. But they're not. It's not really a good Scooby Doo movie.
Interesting. No, don't have any questions. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not to say that like it's not fun. Like I laughed. There are moments that are funny, and like it's not unenjoyable, but it's frustrating how like there are a couple of quite funny lines from Fred. Like Zac Efron as Fred is pretty good. Shaggy sounds awful. Scooby Doo. Yeah.
Zac Efron as Fred?
Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's got some funny jokes.
So wait, now I do have a question. This is an animated one, right?
Yeah, he does the voice of Freddy. Yeah.
They didn't have Frank Welker come in and be Fred?
No, it's a stunt cast, celebrity voice cast kind of deal.
Okay, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I was picturing it as an older one. But this is a modern one.
This is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, the last
Interesting.
movie. Yeah, it bombed horribly. They were going to make a bunch of... It was going to leak because there's a bunch of concept art of, like... I can't remember. I think... No, maybe not. No, maybe I'm wrong. I think there was concept art of, like, more of the Wacky Racer characters were going to show up. And it was initially more explicitly going to be a Wacky Races movie. And then they, like, in rewrites, changed it to be a Scooby-Doo movie. Which is why Dick Dastardly is the bad guy. And he's changed completely. That it also fundamentally misunderstands him because he wins constantly in that movie where he constantly gets all 3 skulls. He constantly outsmarts and one-ups all of all the good guys over and over again, and that's just not what Dick Dastardly is. He's a bumbling idiot and he fails all the time. That's the gag. For your benefit, he's the Baron from that one special. Like he's incompetent. He's a boob. Like that's the gag. That's the joke.
He specifically reminds me of from Meet the Robinsons, bowler hat guy.
Yes, similar idea. Yes, where he's an idiot. Like he's not supposed to be a hyper competent villain, so it doesn't really work. Like it misunderstands that character. Like it's a pretty funny movie. Like I said, there's some really, I think I mentioned the one where he's like they're fighting Cerberus at the end. Like even it also drastically misunderstands Dynamite. Dynamite is played. You remember Dynamite, right?
I remember Dynamite.
Yeah. He's played by Ken Jeong, and he's a super hyper serious, like pointy metal robot character that's like super smart.
No. What he is, from what I remember anyway, is basically a combination between Scooby, Astro, and a robot.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the thing with dogs in the Hanna-Barbera universe is they're all varying degrees of Scooby-Doo. So yeah, you've got Astro, you've got Scooby-Doo, you got
or Astro.
You got Asteroid I think came after Scooby-Doo, and Scooby is basically just he Ruh-roh, he does that.
But he's not. Yeah, but he's not like Scooby-Doo in personality. He's too brave.
No, yeah. I more meant in cadence and like representation. It's sort of like how like Yeah, those 3 dog characters are basically Muttley. Where was I going with that? Train of thought. Lost my train of thought. Come on. Oh my god. Stop being difficult. Sorry, hold on.
Muttley.
Oh yeah.
Astro Boy.
Yeah. It's just yeah. I liked it more this time, but that could be because I appreciated all of the Hanna Barbera stuff. But like, it's an all right movie, but it's a bad Scooby Doo movie. Is my final point.
I mean, that's because it's not really supposed to be a Scooby Doo movie.
It doesn't
right?
seem. No, it doesn't really seem like it. I think if they had kept it a wacky racist movie and Scooby Doo or like a laugh, I sort of laugh.
Clearly they weren't confident if they put a wacky racist name on it that it was going to get butts in the seat.
It has the vibe of like they thought that they needed Scooby Doo to sell it, and to my knowledge, it didn't do very well. I did not watch it in theaters, even though I was nominally interested in it, moderately. Anyway, that's it. That's
all right. So, yet again, we dip our toes into the Hanna Barbera Superstars 10 series of specials, and we are going to talk about the good. Sorry, I should try and do the good, the bad, and Huckleberry Hound.
I don't really. Isn't his thing like he just happens into circumstances? Like that's his whole bit. I remember him being like really lazy. That was his whole like. I do recall his cartoons, just not very thoroughly. I didn't watch them for
this. So, what's interesting about this special is it's the final time that Dawes Butler voiced Huckleberry Hound, Quick Draw McGraw, Baba Louie, Snagglepuss, Hokey Wolf, and Peter Potamus. Because he died a couple weeks after this telecast.
Oh, interesting.
So this was the last time he played those characters. But no, yeah, this movie, this film, 95 minutes long, and it's a parody of various Western films. According to this, it's akin to Blazing Saddles. It's a takeoff of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, obviously. And it spoofs... there is a few specific ones that it has here. Several plot points are lifted from High Noon, High Plains Drifter, Man with No Name, etc., 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 etc. And it's got the character Dinky Dalton from Laugh Olympics is featured in this one.
Interesting.
And so yeah, basically, yeah, Huckleberry rides west on his horse in search of a place to start a country farm. Comes across a small town of Two-Bit. Gets harassed by Dinky, Finky, Pinky, and Stinky.
Oh, come on. That's a wasted opportunity. It should be Dinky, Pinky, Stinky, and Fred. Way funnier joke.
And the movie is cut up, and this is where it says that I guess this is an homage or a reference to Blazing Saddles, where it cuts the movie up into sections. And so it kind of just ends up, for me, feeling like it was a series of episodes of a cartoon that were made into a movie.
I could believe it.
But or at least in design or like in terms of the creation process, it comes across like they're not, the people that made this are used to making TV shows, and so the production cycle was made in a TV cycle.
Well, okay,
if that makes sense.
It does to a degree. I mean, if it's a television special, yeah, I could believe it, because you can tell.
Yeah, I have a few movies. I have a few movies that are actually movies, and I'm saying this and the Yogi Bear one feel different than those. Like these feel like they were made for TV specials. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I can tell that they are. But it's fun. Like this is another one where the other characters show up.
Oh yeah.
like as background characters. So like Yogi and Boo Boo are there from the park,
That's
and
fun.
like they're visiting. Snagglepuss is a character that like he's a character in town, as another like he's named as another character, not Snagglepuss.
Oh, that's fun.
Uh, 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 you got like characters that show up in this are uh, Yogi Bear, Quick Draw McGraw, Snagglepuss, Peter Potamus, Baba Louie, Hokey Wolf. You
Papa
got.
Louie.
Are there any other of the well-known ones? Piggy Dalton, obviously. Uh, who else? Boo Boo, Mr. Peebles,
Mr. People.
a bunch of the different characters that are well known within the. Apparently in cameo appearances, in the audience of a certain scene, you have Snooper, Muttley, and Doggy Daddy. But yeah, I mean it's fun. It's a how much you're gonna like it is really gonna depend on how much you like westerns.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, um, it's making fun of westerns, so it's enjoyable, but it's better than the Yogi Bear one.
Also fair.
It's less like this one, the Yogi Bear one. It wasn't strictly educational, but like they're talking about a real plane and like you know what I mean. Like that one,
It felt educational, and in
it
children's
felt
cartoons, that's a sin.
yeah.
Unless it's Schoolhouse Rock. It's the only time it's not a sin.
This one doesn't. Like this one feels more akin to like a Looney Tunes,
Fair, fair.
whereas that one feels more akin to a Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny tells you not to smoke a joint.
I would say that yeah, that with some of these they do the more like Looney Tunes esque they feel. But also I did enjoy Top Cat because it was a little smarter than a Looney Tunes cartoon. It did like he resolves his conflicts with words a lot of time, and like in the space of children's cartoons, I was like, oh, there's some variation there.
As an aside, it was not his last appear for the gentleman Dawes Butler. It was not his final appearance of Yogi Bear. That would happen a couple weeks later, or a couple months later, in November of that year, in Yogi Bear and the Invasion of the Space Bears.
Huh.
That was his last appearance of Yogi Bear.
Um,
That's all I really have to say about this one. It was yeah, it was difficult this week not to just pick all Scooby-Doo, so like I had to throw in a couple other guys in there.
yeah, it's kind of the same way. Mine kind of breaks it down to Scooby Doo, Scooby Doo and Tom and Jerry. It appears more than once.
For me, the ones that appear more than once are Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones. Scooby-Doo definitely.
Sorry, and Yogi Bear.
Scooby-Doo definitely has gotten top billing this week because he's in 3 of my picks.
Well,
so
yeah, the TV shows I wanted to watch because I wanted to compare them to the movies to see how bad they adapt it. But yeah, so with Hanna Barbera, picking movies was tough because like they didn't make a lot of movies. I thought they would have had a longer filmography, but yeah, Jordan pointed out it's mostly television specials. But they did do 2 major theatrical movies, one of which I believe Jordan's going to talk about. But I'm going to talk about their first one, which is a movie called Hey There, It's Yogi Bear. And respectively, it's like about an hour and a half. And it's Yogi. A bunch of it is just Yogi Bear doing Yogi Bear shenanigans. It's a musical for some reason, but there aren't a lot of songs. Like, they don't really sing a ton of songs. It's very bizarre. And when they do, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh, they're singing. But the it's very weird. Like, it escalates in a weird way. So, like, Yogi, he gets busted doing a Yogi Bear shenanigans. And in a fit of rage, he decides he wants to be transferred to a zoo in California. So he, at the last minute, changes his mind and stays back, but disguises himself as the Brown Baron. And this movie is a love story between him and Cindy Bear. So I guess this is where they get together. So she is sad that Yogi Bear is gone, and so she has herself shipped out to go be with him. But it turns out that, oh no, Yogi Bear didn't. He's actually at Jellystone, and she winds up getting kidnapped by a evil circus, and the evil circus has a dog that is just mumbly. Mumbly. It's the same dog. I sent you the video of it. It's the same dog. And he is the first instance of that dog character.
Interesting. And so it's funny because I remember you sent me the clip of Yogi singing.
Yes.
And it does not. It sounds very different. And it's quick peek into mine. They also sing, and it's also a different voice, and it also doesn't sound quite right.
Right.
Which I thought was funny.
Yeah. It's so both Yogi and Boo Boo both sing songs, but each time they sing, they have a different singing voice, and the singing voices sound less and less like Yogi. To be fair, I think the one I sent you is a joke. I think it's a pop culture reference because he sings the song and then Boo Boo goes, "Yo!" Oh, I wish I could remember the name, but it's like an old singer from the 1960s. Like, Yogi, you sound just like so and so, and I think he's the singing voice. He's singing the song, and that's the joke.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. But it's one of those types of musicals where you're like, the movie is over, like they're on their way back, they've resolved the problem, and then you're like, okay, cool, the movie's over.
And then they sing about how they saved the day,
and it's like, and they're like, and one more time, and you're like, no, it's fine. Oh, okay, great.
For the love of God, no.
For the love of God, no. But I will say, like, it's very noticeable that it's compared to the show. It's very noticeable that it's a theatrical movie. A lot of the musical numbers when Yogi dances looks expensive. Like some of the animation looks pretty. Like any of these it's the same guy. The same guy was Yogi Bear until like the 1980s when he died. And he's super fun. Hey, Yogi Bear.
Is me as Yogi?
Is me as Yogi? It's a big and basket. Yeah, it was fun. It's a little long. It probably could be 10 to 15 minutes shorter, but it was fun. Yeah, that's Hey There, it's Yogi Bear.
So, 2 years after Hey There, it's Yogi Bear, a movie which was the swan song. It was it came after the season finale of the Flintstones. The Man Called Flintstone comes out.
Oh, so that's the series finale to the Flintstones?
That's what this Wikipedia says. Yeah, it's the series finale.
Oh, Hey There, it's Yogi Bear led to a new series of Yogi Bear, which was a sequel to the movie. Because the movie, I should say, real quick before we jump into that, the movie ends with Ranger Rick becoming head ranger, and the show's about Yogi Bear going on adventures. But it continues off of that. Anyway, continue.
Interesting. Yeah, no, this one was a swan song. Immediately following the end of production of the show, the film was released on August 5th, 1966. 4 months after the series ended.
Pretty sure it's their first movie. It's either mine or yours is their first movie. And
yours is the first. That's why I said 2 years after Hey There, it's Yogi Bear comes out.
Right.
This came out. And it's a spy film. It's you've got a guy who looks exactly like Fred Flintstone as a spy, and then wham bam, he gets knocked out, out of commission, and then Fred has to take his place, and it's a lot of fun, and I definitely, this is where I say I immediately could tell the difference between this and the two made-for-TV specials.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That I had previously talked about. But yeah, this makes fun of a lot of spy movies, to the point where the film poster, which has Fred
I'm gonna need you to
Fred
stop.
Flintstone, is in the same pose as Bob Peak on the movie of Our Man Flint.
That's funny.
The plot is a parody of spy films, primarily James Bond ones, of course.
Of course.
And So an interesting thing.
You have to stop.
I'm dying. Why is it the second I have to start talking? Um, the interesting thing is that Henry Corden, who is Fred's singing voice in this movie, would go on to fully assume the role of Fred following Alan Reed's death in 1977.
Oh, interesting. Are you good, Jordan? Are you good?
I don't think so. But yeah, no, this movie's fun because, like, so at one point, they take a flight to Stone Age Paris, where you have the Stone Age version of the Eiffel Tower, and then they end up in Rome, and
Sure. They're a modern Stone Age family.
It's funny because uh, Fred and Wilma and Pebbles, they get first class because the spy agency like buys them and ships them and everything because of Fred, and Barney um, Barney and
Fred?
nope,
Flintstone?
his wife.
Wilma? Betty?
Nope. Betty, thank you, that's it. Barney and Betty and I think Bam Bam's also there. Or they get it as... No, I think Bam Bam's also there. Anyways, they're in last class, which last class has them sitting on the wings of the plane. And so there's a scene where Fred is like going through the different classes. First class is where they are. Second class is like what would be our normal plane. Third class is like they've got the double decker seats. And then yeah, like last class is the people who are sitting on the tail of the plane and stuff, and it's funny. There's a lot of funny jokes in it. It was an enjoyable movie.
Had a good time.
I had a good time. It was nice to watch one that felt a little more engaging after watching specials.
I imagine, yeah. That's it, Jordan.
That being said, quick peek ahead to one of my future ones. Not all of the specials were created equally, because one of them is definitely better than all of the rest.
All right.
That's all I have to say about The Man Called Flintstone.
A man called Flintstone.
Not a man. The man.
Oh, man. Anyway.
So you should because I think it's one of your rapid fires. There's one that you have where a dog goes to an island, right?
Yes.
You should do that one next.
I'm gonna.
Good.
I was gonna.
Good, because synergistically it'll make your editing easier.
Jordan, are you referring to Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island?
I am. I didn't want to give away the game.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So with Scooby-Doo, there hits a certain point where Scooby-Doo becomes cynical and self-aware and realizes that it's always a real estate scam. Jordan, it's always a real estate scam.
It's usually a real escape scan, because this one changes the game.
Yeah, and so there becomes a certain point where they become aware that they're doing the split. And so this one is interesting and notable. It came out in 1999, I believe. It's interesting and it's notable because, yeah, it begins with the gang breaking. They're broken up. It was interesting to me when I was watching this. A spoiler alert for something that's coming in the future, but Jordan might be talking about the live-action movie. And it was interesting to me how many similarities this kind of shares with the movie, the live-action movie, where it's like, yeah, the story begins, they're all broken up, and it's about them getting back together, and it's about, you know, there's less of them having to relearn how to work together, but...
Yeah, getting back together and going to a scary island where they have to solve the mystery. And
inevitably it turns out to be real and not a guy in a mask. Yeah, there's just a lot of similarities I noticed. But this one is notable to me because it's dark and it's scary. Like, I remember when I was a kid, it was scary. And like the girls are full-blown serial killers. They kill so many people. Like you notice that some of their victims are like poor tourists who didn't know any better, and like they're like kids, and it's really gruesome and really gnarly how many people they killed. They killed so many people.
They lure a lot of tourists to that place.
Right?
Poor Bob.
Right? Poor Bob. But yeah, it also of all of these movies has the best soundtrack. I'm not wrong.
Oh,
I was listening to you watch the one that you're probably, I'm imagining, going to talk about next. And I'm like, man, the music just isn't as good as mine. It's just not as good as mine. Also, a thing I discovered with a lot of these movies is the more you try to have them, the initial Hanna Barbera cartoons don't take place in the real world. They take place in another world where animals talk and you don't question it. And they're anthropomorphic and they're your height. Like,
and Batman's there.
Right. And so the more these movies try to exist in the real world, the less sense they make. Especially with Scooby. Like, that's the thing that comes back in yours, where you're like, he's a talking dog. He has enough intelligence to talk, but he doesn't understand X, Y, or Z thing. So, like, there's a lot of moments in this movie where he chases after cats, where it's like, Scooby, man, Scooby, you're smarter than this, man. This isn't cool. This isn't cool what you're doing. You know better. This isn't cool. Stop this. Stop what you're doing.
He has intelligence.
Shaggy, I'd be like,
he still has the instincts of a dog, though, Justin.
If I were Shaggy, I'd be like, Scooby, man, this isn't cool. It's not cool what you're doing. It's not cool what you're doing right now. Yeah, and it's the way, I believe What's New Scooby-Doo also leads off of this continuity. And we didn't talk about The Witch's Ghost, but The Witch's Ghost is very much a sequel to this. Cyber Chase, I believe, which is the last one that's in this continuity. It goes this, Witch's Ghost, the alien one, and then that. And yeah, What's New Scooby-Doo, I believe, takes place in the same continuity, because I think it's still, she's still a reporter. He's still wearing the jacket he wears in this movie, and is a camera guy. There's also a really funny moment where he like pulls away, like he's got the mystery machine, and he's got the logo for her news show or whatever, like taped on it, and he's like, check it out, ta-da, as if he painted something. It's like, yeah, Freddy, you just tore off a piece of paper. You didn't really do anything all that impressive, Freddy. It's not like you painted. You just tore the thing off that you put on earlier. It's not very impressive, Freddy. You're not very impressive. But
Freddy's lame.
My favorite character is the police officer who's just there to investigate all of the murders. It's just like things you don't pick up as a child, like where you're like, oh yeah, he's there investigating all of the murders because they murdered a lot of people. Like, usually the bad guys on Scooby-Doo don't actually hurt anybody. Like, it's usually they just are scaring people away. But this one was like, yeah, we want to be proper scary. Like, we want to scare kids. And yeah, I just remember as a kid it being like, this is an intimidating movie. But that's it.
I mean, I just remember enjoying the hell out of that one because, yeah, it kind of shook things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it scaring the pants off of me. Jordan, that's it.
So that leads perfectly into mine, which, as an aside, I was just reading some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, which I will be mentioning, but some of the production stuff. But I watched the last of the 4 ones made by this creative team, which is Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, which it's fun. It definitely, and there are production reasons for this from what I can see, but it definitely feels more like a return to your classic Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm going to read some of this. The original team that worked on the first 4 films, with the second one, which is Ghost, the studio wanted outside screenwriters to be brought in for it, and all of the creative team were like hard against it, and I don't know if the studio forced them to for that one or not, but for this one it was the same situation where executives recommended Mark Turos. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyways, a writer who was already under contract with Warner Brothers, who had little experience with animation. Um, the crew produced the first one and the third one, Alien Invaders, with total autonomy, and were insulted by Warner's insistence that they had to use Tarast's scripts, which I'm guessing might be why there was never another one with this team.
Probably not. The next one just kind of makes it so they're wearing the ascot. It's pretty much just normal Scooby-Doo guys.
As a result, the original team moved on to projects after the team's completion, and the next feature, Legend of the Vampire, was written by the same one as this one.
Yep.
Apparently, originally, they wanted to explore using live-action actors for scenes set inside the video game.
Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, no, it's fun. Basically,
I like the reference to red shirt Shaggy, which is funny.
Yeah, and red collared Scooby.
Yep.
And the fact that the video game versions of them wear the classic outfits, it's a nice touch.
Yep. So they hadn't worn them in a while at that point. Like they had mostly been wearing the new outfits, the new wardrobe. Because
for at least 3 other movies.
Yeah, that period of time really wanted to rebrand them. Yeah, that it was very much like we don't do the fake shit no more. It's all real. It's all real now.
Daphne got bored of the fake shit.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Witch's Ghost is really quite good. Yeah, and that when and then a lot of the later movies are like, oh no, it's always fake at the end. Well, that's what sets the movies apart. Is that's when Scooby and Shaggy and them do the real shit. Makes it interesting.
Yeah, that's what made those three more interesting. I just mostly remember the thing that makes this one stick out of my brain, and the reason why I'll always kind of remember it is because I remember the video game. I think it was for PlayStation 1.
Oh yeah,
the Cyber Chase video game.
Yeah.
Mostly because I remember constantly wanting to try it, and I think it was always out. Like we could never rent it.
It was not a very good game.
I don't remember it being a very good game. It had 7 levels, but I'm looking at it now. Player controls Scooby and Shaggy in a 3D environment. Has bosses. You got to get the Scooby snacks. Sounds very much like the game that the movie has in the game, or
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera. But
et cetera.
Yeah, no.
Et cetera.
It's Scooby-Doo, and I always will have a soft spot in my heart for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
even the worst Scooby-Doo thing, on some level, is enjoyable because I love Scooby-Doo.
That was your final rapid fire, right?
No, I have one more.
Oh, my final rapid fire is the original Tom and Jerry movie. And what's really funny about this movie, okay, a big complaint that people have about this movie is that Tom and Jerry talk. And that, like, the nostalgia critic in particular, he hated that the Tom and Jerry talk. And this was my very first Tom and Jerry thing I ever watched. So, from my perspective, Tom and Jerry talked. And it's so funny because you can go and you can look up compilations of all the times they've talked in cartoons. So they've talked before. But that was the big thing about this, is now they're talking to each other and they're having full conversations. And I'm like, and the justification of them talking was that you would get bored if they didn't. You would get bored if they didn't talk. And I mostly agree with that for about the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, where it's about them. It's their story. It's like they get kicked out of their house and they run into a stray dog and they do a song and dance about how they should be friends now and whatever.
And then you have the human stand-in character.
Well, and then the movie stops being about them when they run into a character called Robin, who is this orphan who is being held captive by this woman who is her ward, but it's not, she calls her Aunt Fig, but she makes it clear that it's not her aunt. So they never really establish what the connection is between them, just that she needs to be in relative good health for them to access the money, and they need the dad to be dead in order to get it. So then it turns out that the dad is in fact alive. Not dead. And it becomes a madcap chase to get to the cabin to meet the dad or get the girl as all the bad guys chase after her, and it basically becomes wacky races. All like there's an evil vet scientist guy who winds up in an ice cream truck. Rip Taylor is there as the children's entertainer who has a sentient talking hand puppet who has his own separate intelligence because he's clearly gone insane.
Yes.
The songs are oddly catchy but not very memorable. And they're random. Like they just kind of come out. Oh, that's the other. That's just to go back to the Yogi Bear. Some of the we won't go back. The music is random and just kind of comes out of nowhere. So like there's a really long song of these alley cats singing about how they're awful with this one character, this really weird false. Do you remember that song?
I think so.
What do we care about?
Yeah.
You know that random.
Ooh, you just that mic hard.
See, what do we do? That one, the stupid cat.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of becomes.
I remember loving that movie. Like really liking that movie. I
enjoyed it, but Tom and Jerry aren't really characters in that movie. Like they don't really have an arc, and anytime they start to have an arc, like their arc seemingly appears to be like them becoming friends, but the movie ends with them just reverting back to being Tom and Jerry. Like there's a bit at the end where Tom thinks that Jerry is dead. He's like, "Oh, I swear I'll be much nicer to you, whatever. I'll repent." And then they just go back to being Tom and Jerry at the end. So the movie's not really about them. So by that sense, they don't need to talk. Like they offer nothing to the narrative, them talking once the girl arrives. So you could just have them not talk. There's no real rhyme or reason for them to talk in this movie other than the first 15 minutes. And so when you read about the behind the scenes about how they were trying to make this movie for a while, and it initially starts with It initially started as a movie about them, and it was going to be an origin story, like how they met, why they hate each other, the fact they're just a cat and a mouse, like what the history of their relationship is. And I'm like, and that's why they talked. And like, oh, okay, that sounds like a 1,000 times more interesting movie. Like, that sounds more interesting than this. Like, it's just a chase with a girl who they just met, like a day ago.
I mean, I'd need more context.
Yeah, then they rewrote it.
Like I would need to, in terms of if this movie was a real thing, I would. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds weird to me. That sounds weird.
But yeah, they eventually rewrote it. It got rewrote like a bunch of times, and it became the movie that we saw. Which I to be clear, I liked it. I believe it to be, having not seen any of the other Tom and Jerry movies, I will boldly declare it to be the best Tom and Jerry movie.
I mean, you have seen one of the other ones. That was one of your have-not seen.
Spoilers. I've not seen any other one. It's the best one.
I see. A wink.
Wink. That's it. That's my last rapid fire.
So my last rapid fire is the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones.
That movie is very fun.
Which is another one of the Hanna Barbera Superstar 10 series, but it's the best one.
It is. I remember it. I remember it being really fun. My favorite part is where they get trapped in the past.
It's hands down the best one.
The Jetsons get trapped in the past, and it's like, Mom and Dad, I hate it here. It's objectively terrible, and worse than our home by every conceivable and immeasurable measure.
Our super civilized society with robots that serve on us hand and feet, and now I have to actually do things. Although I will say it's kind of neat having advanced technology that we then proceed to use to benefit us and get rich and have property and just rule over this society
with an iron fist.
No, seriously, there's a portion of the movie where they use their advanced technology to accrue various real estate properties, to the point where then the the guy shows up and they're like, we don't want it anymore. They put all the deeds in his hand and it's stone, so he's weighed down and it's a joke. But it's like, they have actually used their like flying George ability to get rich and lived comfortably in the past. So they're not stupid.
An iron fist.
Uh,
Iron
and
fist.
and of course, like the point where the Flintstones are also stuck in the future. Fred and family and them sell themselves under Spacely and like they're comfortable as well, but ultimately they're sad and they want to go home because of course they do, and then they end up back home as the end result of this movie, of course. But it's a lot of fun. Um, you get to see two of the most famous Hanna Barbera families come together,
Yep.
and there's something entertaining about seeing Fred Flintstone with George Jetson. Like that's never not going to be fun for me.
So,
For me personally,
what is that?
this came out. It was 92 minutes long, so it was like it's a movie. And the version that I saw, the Adam and this is where it was interesting because maybe the other versions that I saw, they like. I think this version that I saw was an HD remake, which is why it looked so much nicer. But this one looked more like a movie, as opposed to the other specials that I saw.
Yeah, fair
which
enough.
just felt like they were cheap.
They're probably TV specials.
They were all TV specials. This was a TV special as well.
Oh.
I'm just saying, the version that I watched didn't feel like it was.
They put the money
but
into it.
I think it got re-released.
Oh, that would surprise me. If it got spun on DVD, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think this one, not just DVD. I think, yeah, I'm looking at it now. February 20th, 2024. The film was released in HD on Blu-ray.
Gotcha.
So the version that I watched, that I had access to for this one, was clearly the Blu-ray version, whereas the other two that I saw, I know the Yogi Bear one, was literally just a VHS copy that someone had.
That's believable.
But it's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed this one. That's all I have to say about the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones.
Before we start the have scenes, which apparently I'm going first this week. I don't know how that happened.
It's because your part of your rapid fires were clearly your TV shows, which you just did all at once.
That makes
sense.
In
the beginning.
That makes sense. So while we've been talking here, Jordan, we have jumped up to 147 subscribers, and we are now 3 away from the 150. We are 3 away from the 150 goal of Jordan getting a big angry rant about Apple TV. So if
Justin eating 3 hot peppers on camera.
We never said that
on the same one.
We're
saying it now. We're committing to it.
We are not committing.
I'm gonna do an angry rant and be filled with heat that way, you're gonna eat at least 2 hot peppers so that you are hot as well.
These are not remote. I will eat 1 hot pepper, and it will be a jalapeno.
2 jalapenos.
Okay, I will buy Quiznos. They sell jalapenos, and I will eat 2 Quiznos jalapenos.
Okay.
All right, but I can't because, if we hit 150 on air, I will do that next week, and Jordan will do his angry rant this week.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We're not going to hit 150 live on air, but if it does happen, those are the stakes.
Either way, when it happens.
My first rapid... So I'm missing one.
Not rapid fire. Have seen.
My first... Yeah. My first have seen... now, for my have scenes are not animated. I did 2 of the live action movies.
Me too.
And obviously with the live action movies, your first question is, how faithful is this to the original? Which made me want to go back and watch the original, which is why I watched a lot of these shows. And we had the big, long opening section about the shows. I forgot to mention the Flintstones, because I couldn't find the Flintstones. I can only find it on Apple TV. Jordan. We'll have a rant about Apple TV if we hit 150. But that's one of us that had it.
real quick, going back to The Man Called Flintstones, an interesting thing about that, for a movie that is a musical, they never have the Flintstones song in that movie.
That's pretty funny. And so the only instance of I watched the pilot of the Flintstones. They have that on YouTube, and I watched a couple little small chunks of episodes here and there. But the only real sort of exposure I got to the cartoon was there is this really long YouTube video with all of their commercials, and one of the commercials was just a commercial for Anheuser-Busch, the beer, and it's very bizarre. Fred and Barney just decide to rage quit their jobs out of nowhere, and they wind up at the bar just drinking an Anheuser-Busch. And they're like, yeah, anytime I feel remotely upset, I just sit here and I have an Anheuser-Busch. And Fred's like, what are you gonna do? To tell you, how are you gonna tell Betty that you quit your job? And he's like, I'm going to say, Betty, Fred Flintstone made me quit my job. And he's like, and then what are you gonna do? He's like, and then I'm gonna kill myself. It's like, whoa, it's really dark. It's very dark. And then it just sort of slowly devolves to these live action shots of Anheuser-Busch and Fred and Barney being like, yeah, I like Anheuser-Busch. And every single time they drink it, this like cloud appears over the head, and it's like, yes, you're having a good time. But anyway, I wanted to watch the show because I watched the live action movie starring and featuring John Goodman as Fred Flintstone, as Halle Berry. Rick Moranis is Barney. Rosie O'Donnell is Betty. And I'm not sure who plays Wilma. I don't recognize her in the same way I do the others by name. But she is really, really good as Wilma. Here's the thing about this movie, okay? It is, if your desire is for it to look exactly like the cartoon, boy howdy, does it look exactly like the cartoon. It is remarkable. Like, the set design is incredible. The performances are like they all like nail it spot on. Fred and Barney's boss shows up at one point. It looks just like him. Like, John Goodman as Fred's incredible. Rick Moranis as Barney is phenomenal. Again, the set design, the puppets. Dino is like part puppet, part CGI. There's a lot of puppets with the dinosaurs that look great. Again, the sets look great. It is a very faithful looking movie with a very boring story. Like, that movie is great until Halle Berry shows up, and it becomes about corporate embezzlement and them setting up Fred. I mean, it to a degree is a believable storyline. It's just the way it's presented. I just remember as a kid not liking this movie because Fred and Barney were mean to each other the whole time. Like, that's all I remember about it.
They at a certain point, don't they, like, get into this big fight? Yeah. Which I will say, Fred having issues with Barney is not unrealistic, because like in the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, there's a part where Fred literally tosses Barney out one of the Jetsons like sky windows.
Yeah. So, well, it's like the idea in the original show is that Barney's his annoying neighbor, his Flanders, as it were. That's what he is. Like, the movies present them as being like best friends since childhood, but that's not their dynamic in the show. It's their dynamic for this. The plot of this is basically there's a bad guy played by Charlotte's husband from Sex and the City, who has basically tricked and bamboozled the higher ups at the quarry that Fred and Barney work at, and has convinced them to spend a bunch of money on revolutionary mining equipment, basically. And him and Halle Berry are going to embezzle the money and steal the money, and they frame Fred Flintstone by promoting him to executive vice president or whatever. And they inevitably frame Fred Flintstone for it. So everyone, and they trick him because he doesn't read what he signs, having him sign all the pink slips, which is really funny because they show up as like stone tablets, but they're pink. And
So I was just gonna say, the thing that I most remember about that first one is, yeah, like they look right and they
yeah,
feel right, but it being a real estate scam, I remember that being boring as a
it's
kid.
embezzlement. Yeah, an embezzlement scam. But yes,
Sorry, embezzlement.
yeah, corporate
Uh,
embezzlement.
which I mean, I understand how you need to find something to make the movie work, but like, couldn't there have been something more
Well, the
interesting?
bones there are like a believable Flintstone story when you're watching it as an adult, where you're like, yeah, basically Barney swaps test scores with Fred, so Fred gets promoted instead of him, and Barney gets fired because he has the worst scores in the plant, um, and so Fred becomes a big prick with money, and him and Barney break up. Is basically the plot of it. And
Yeah.
that is a believable storyline that could happen in the show. But it's just, I don't know, something about the way it's, and like, yeah, there are some legit laugh out loud funny jokes that I appreciate as an adult. But like, yeah, in terms of being a represent, it's just not a very interesting story. Like, it's riding on the laurels of the money it clearly spent to look like the cartoon. And like, yeah, it opens and closes with like a shot for shot, like done in live action with the cast recreation of the theme song. So it plays like it's an extra long theme song of the show. So it opens with the theme song and then it closes with the closing theme song. The bit where the lion locks him out, and ends with that. So it bookends just like an episode of the show. So it feels like an episode of the show, and it's really impressive in that regard. But yeah, it's just like, this is really boring. But every version of it that they had written was also like awful sounding. Like at one point they had a version of it they had written where it was going to be like essentially the Great Depression would happen in Bedrock, and Barney and it's the same deal. Barney and Fred get mad at each other and break up, and that's the conflict of the movie. And I'm like, that sounds equally as awful. Like, and it's really funny because my knowledge of this movie, my memory of this movie has always been me going, I don't like this movie, and the world being like, no, but it's a really good movie. And then I was reading about it, and no, it was in fact not a well-received movie. Everybody hated it. It has like a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, man, my memory of the cultural reception to this is way different than I thought.
It might not have had your first one there. It might not have had a critical or like a well received audience, but financially it did well enough to make a sequel. So,
Prequel?
well, it's interesting that you say that. If you're done,
Yes, that's the Flintstones. It's again, if your desire is for it to look like the show, it absolutely looks like the show.
okay. Well, synergistically, I was going to do Scooby Doo first, but since you've done Flintstones, I'm now going to do my Flintstones. I also, for my have scenes, did 2 live action movies, and one of them is the second second Flintstones live action movie that they made, which is Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, which
Viva Rock Vegas.
it is a prequel. You're right on that, but it wasn't supposed to be.
No, it wasn't. It was supposed to be a sequel. And then they couldn't get any of the original cast back.
They greenlit 2 sequels, and it's interesting that they couldn't get any of the original cast back because that's not correct. Technically, looking at this cast list, I'll get there in a second.
Couldn't get the main cast back because John Goodman hated making the first one.
It's according to this, it's not that he hated making the first one. He did not want to get typecast. Was why he would not come back for this one.
Yeah, fair enough.
According to this. But they originally wanted to. They approved two sequels and wanted to have them be filmed back to back in the vein of Back to the Future Part 2 and Part 3. But yeah, John Goodman did not want to come back and be Fred because he didn't want to be typecast. But so reading about this, where did it say it? I saw somewhere in there the director, whoever wrote it, said that the third one they would have ended up in the Stone Age equivalent of the Wild West, which I think would have been funny.
It would have been pretty funny.
But and here's an interesting little thing which I just found out. In this movie, the character who plays Wilma's father, Colonel Slaghoople, Corman, in the original animated series, he voiced the Great Gazoo.
Oh, really?
And he voiced the Dictabird in the first film.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, yeah, the Dick. Yeah, I didn't mention the Dictabird. Yeah, the self-aware bird puppet, which is also really impressive looking. But that second movie also does a decent job of like looking like the Thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get to that in a second. But the thing that I found interesting when I was reading through the cast list, and I'm looking to find where it is because I've lost it, was there it is. You said that none of the original came back. That's not true. Rosie O'Donnell did come back as the voice of the octopus, giving Wilma and Betty massages.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I don't know why they didn't get her to just be Betty, but
yeah, and then
she was in this. She was in this movie.
The thing that makes me go, yeah, I believe that it was a sequel, is the fact that the Great Gazoo is there. It doesn't make any sense for him to be here at this point. Like, but he's a very obviously a late addition in late seasons of the Flintstones. He's very much a like jump the shark, we're out of ideas character.
Yeah, he's a dumb character.
Yeah. He was like in like one of the last seasons he was introduced as like a way to basically, yeah, he would show up, cause a problem, and that would be plots of the episode of the show.
But this one very much it looks like the Flintstone, and it feels like the Flintstones. You know, it's yet again another example of it's a believable story where Fred is trying to woo Wilma, and he gets too big for his britches, gets too much money, makes an ass of himself, and ultimately has to learn a lesson.
The cast not as good. Not as good.
There's a lot of this thing which is just not as good. Let me put it this way: there's a reason they didn't make a third one.
Yeah. I remember watching this in theaters, and like this is like one of the first times I can remember actively thinking a movie was bad.
I don't remember watching this in theaters. I remember watching this on TV, like on YTV and stuff like that with commercials.
Remember walking out of the movie theater being like,
I remember watching the first one in theaters. I don't remember watching this one in theaters.
I think you've got your memory confused. Because we watched the first one came out well before we would have been watching movies in theaters. I think it's like 94. We definitely have seen the second one came out like the 2000s. Hold on.
Yeah, well, the first one it says 1994.
94, yeah, that's well before you'd be 3 years old. You would have no memory. I mean,
this one came out April 28th, 2000.
Yep.
I don't think Mom would have taken us to this one.
It was a grandma one.
Oh, that I could believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a budget of It had a budget of $83 million. Which is not as much as I would have thought more, fun game. It's under $70 million. Want to guess how much it box office it did? Under $70 million.
50 million?
Ooh, a little bit more.
60 million.
Just under.
59 million.
59.5.
Oh yeah.
So it did not do well.
No, it did not. Just the sentiment of like we didn't have the words for these exact words at the time, but like it's the Flintstones from Wish.
Yeah.
Timu Flintstones, like it just didn't feel right. I just remember it was like the first time I walked out and be like, wow, that wasn't very good.
Flintstones adjacent.
Yeah, at least that's the first time I can actively remember having that feeling.
But the funny thing is, for me, is so if I put this beside, and I think it really and truly does have to do with the fact that this one doesn't have such a star-studded cast.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Rick Moranis. It doesn't have John Goodman.
Stephen Baldwin, and it's got some guy. It's Fred Flintstone.
When you put, it has the guy who was from A Knight's Tale.
It was from A Knight's Tale. Yeah.
When you put the guys in this one beside John Goodman, Rick Moranis, and the rest,
yeah,
it's just it's not gonna stand up.
It's before any of those guys did anything. Like, yeah, it's got the chick from Third Rock from the Sun as Wilma, and it's like she's just not as good as the first one. It's just not as good. The only one who I think is probably as good, in fact, probably actually better than Rosie O'Donnell is Betty. She kind of nails Betty a bit better. Although Rosie O'Donnell absolutely nails the voice. The voice is incredible.
I tend to agree with you. I think Betty is better in this one. And then there's just the fact that, as for why this might not have done as well is, when I think the Flintstones, I don't think romantic comedy, personally.
Sort of. I mean, Betty, no, not really. It's usually Fred gets into hijinks, but there is an element of they have their episodes where he needs to make it up to Wilma. So yeah, I mean, it's a basic sitcom setup. So yeah, they probably did have romantic setups, whereas he had to make it up to the wife. Is that kind of show?
Sure, but I guess I'm more mean. She's already the wife.
Yeah,
it's different. It's different than having to try and win over. It's different than at the beginning of a relationship.
I'm sure it's a long and storied franchise. I'm sure there is a movie or a special or an episode where he had to woo Wilma. I'm sure it exists.
Yeah, there is. It's this.
Other than this.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot more to say about this. It's fine. Not great.
It's
not the worst. It's, I mean, it for a live action adaptation, it looks right.
Yeah, that's the low bar. That's it.
That's really all I have to say about that one.
So my next one is the live action Yogi Bear movie, which I don't really remember having strong feelings about, but this time I was really rather quite impressed because I've been watching a bunch of the original Yogi Bear. And I watched a bunch afterwards as well, which is we already talked about. It stars Dan Aykroyd is Yogi Bear, and Justin Timberlake is Boo Boo, and the Reverse Flash is Ranger Smith, and Anna Faris is a love interest. And it, in terms of looking like the thing, it looks, feels, and plays like a Yogi Bear cartoon. It starts with there's an evil mayor or guy who's running. He's the mayor and he's running for governor. He's trying to shut down Jellystone. And in order for the Jellystone not to get shut down, Yogi Bear's got to be on his best behavior, but he can't because he's Yogi Bear. He needs to steal picnic baskets. And yeah, it's them. Eventually, they cause a big scene with this fireworks display. Oh, so T.J. Miller's there, and he wants to be head ranger, but he doesn't want to do the work to become head ranger. He just wants to be it right away. And Yogi and Boo Boo end up they get tricked. Basically, the evil ranger tricks T.J. Miller, who tricks Yogi and Boo Boo, and they get the park shut down. And the conflict is the evil mayor wants to log Jellystone Park, and they stop him, and that's the plot of it. But it's really a real simple story, nothing too complicated. I thought it was all right. I think it's funny. There's some legit funny. There's some legit funny jokes that I've referenced with you a few times. We have to give him the razzle dazzle. I don't think we practiced the razzle.
The razzle dazzle. I don't think we practiced the razzle dazzle.
It's
you do the razzle, I'll do the dazzle.
Or my other favorite is where he creates what he calls the Basket Nabber 9000, which is like a makeshift helicopter plane, basically. And you're like, Boo Boo, we need to pull out the emergency instructions. What do they say? It's just a picture of us screaming. It's legit. There's some jokes that legit made me laugh. What if I press my lips up against your forehead? No, don't do that. Dan Aykroyd as Yogi Bear. He's really gone back to the original voice. Like, he grew up watching the cartoons, so he like studied the original voice. So it is kind of quite impressive. Him, how he hits the voice, like he nails the voice. It sounds like Yogi Bear. Justin Timberlake as Boo Boo is also like really good. He's really funny. He's got like this dry wit that his one-liners are super funny. Like, it really has the energy of a Hanna Barbera cartoon. It's like, yeah, the story's kind of simple, but it's really like, yeah, this is what it would be like if you took one of his cartoons, like his 7-minute shorts or whatever. Especially now that I watched a bunch of the show, this is what it would be like if you took that and you expanded it out to 90 minutes and you gave it a budget. Like,
stretched it out and gave it some money.
Yeah, they've like really nailed the feel of this without like being like Yogi needs to save the world or like Yogi. And that's what I appreciated about his animated movie too, is like his stakes were were never as high as, oh, he's a bear in an area that doesn't like bears. It's not like he's trying to save the world or do anything major. It's like, no, his conflict is about saving the park, and that's the conflict. And yeah, it's quite funny. I was surprised, and it was on streaming, so you can totally watch it on Crave. It's really short. It's only like an hour 25, but like, it's honestly pretty funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's it. That's Yogi Bear.
Okay, well. Now, we can't talk about live-action Hanna-Barbera things without going back to 2002 and talking about the Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, yes. The Scooby-Doo.
The live-action one.
The Scoobert movie.
Which I enjoy. I enjoy it as it is, but it has kind of a storied history.
Oh, it has an absolute storied history. Written by James Gunn, meant to be an R-rated movie.
I'm just reading about some of the behind, like the stuff, but like, so like originally in the scene where all their bodies are swapped, apparently Daphne and Velma, the way they were gonna switch their souls back, they were gonna have to kiss.
Yes.
Apparently they had to CG out a bunch of cleavage and stuff because it was too over the top.
Shaggy was going to more explicitly be a stoner. I think they were going to straight up say
Oh, no, not more. Yeah, not more explicit. He was just going to be a stoner. There was going to be a bunch of jokes about how he was a stoner. Yeah, apparently the original version was going to be was at one point it was going to be rated R. Then it got dialed down, way down.
Look, I've heard those stories. I believe that there was a PG-13 version of it with those jokes. I don't believe there was ever an R-rated version of this, because
I could see a PG-13. I don't know how you do this unless the story was very different.
Right?
Well, I don't know.
Just selling it. It's a
Scooby-Doo
movie. You wouldn't be able to sell it. No one would buy that script. So I just don't believe that they wasted their time writing it.
Clearly they couldn't, which is why it got bumped down to what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I just don't believe that it exists.
I could believe that he had an outline for it.
Maybe, like those were ideas that he had for the characters. But
I don't believe that there's a full version.
I don't think there's a full script of that. No, I refuse to believe that. I've never believed it.
What is it going to be? Is it going to be that like the monsters are like ripping the teenagers in half, like it's gratuitously violent? Are we gonna see Velma and Daphne in their underwear? Like what's pushing it up to R?
It's certainly it's not gonna be for. There's no way it's for language. Like, were you gonna have cursing? That was gonna push
like what is Scooby? You're gonna have Scooby gonna have the hard R or have the hard F rather? The
right. Is Scooby gonna say an F burr? Is Scooby like, how do you push this? Like, I just don't see how
to an R.
Yeah, I unless like being like Scooby likes to smoke a joint, unless that
or is it is it the Shaggy being a stoner, a full out stoner? Is that what pushes it up to R?
As
it exists, as it currently is, I don't see how you push it up to R.
Right, I don't get it either. Also, this movie's kind of scary.
Oh, especially for kids, which is why I say I believe it was PG-13.
I mean, spoiler alert: Scrappy's the bad guy
Which is a great twist.
That's funny, but
when he
turns into the monster dog, that's kind of scary. It's like, oh, that's kind of scary.
A little bit.
It's a little intense. It's a PG. It's a PG-rated movie.
And, I mean, this movie did very well. It had a sequel. At one point, it was going to apparently... I think it says, hold on.
See, I think the sequel is probably a better representation of the show, but I like this first part better.
At one point, a third film was planned, but the second one did piss poor, so it never happened. And in 2009 and 2010, 2 telefilm prequels, Scooby-Doo The Mystery Begins and Scooby-Doo The Curse of the Lake Monster, aired on Cartoon Network.
Oh, yes. I was going to watch those for this, and then I chose not to. Apparently they're really bad.
A direct-to-film titled Daphne and Velma, with no connection to the previous Scooby-Doo films, was also released.
Yes, it's apparently really bad.
I don't have much more to say. Oh, this was the first time that we got Matthew Lillard as Shaggy.
Yes. That always makes me laugh. Because it's like...
The Spider Chase one that I watched was the last time that the previous guy was Shaggy.
Casey Kasem. Last Casey Kasem, yeah. Yeah, Casey Kasem, I believe... No, he's not. In Zombie Island, Casey Kasem is not Shaggy. It was Billy West. Because there's something to do with Shaggy. Casey Kasem wanting Shaggy to be a vegetarian. And then being like, no. So he refused to voice him for the longest time. And I believe he came back for Cyber Chase, yes. And then Matthew Lillard became the official voice of Shaggy, which is very funny because like people hated him as Shaggy to the point that like there's a joke in Looney Tunes Back in Action where Scooby and Shaggy literally threatened to kill him.
Threatened him with violence.
They're like, if you don't turn you into a Scooby snack,
I'll turn you into a Scooby snacker.
Implying that Scooby would murder and eat Matthew Lillard. Which is funny makes it funny that to an entire generation, Matthew Lillard is Scooby-Doo. And that's kind of remarkable.
Shaggy.
Alright, Shaggy. He's part of Scooby-Doo. And Shaggy, yeah. For entire generations, he's the voice of Shaggy. I also think he does Scooby-Doo too in some things.
But this had a budget of $84 million. Do you want to take a stab in the dark?
$200 million.
Yeah, a little bit higher.
$300 million? $250 million.
No. $275.7 million.
Oh, yeah. It did good. It did well. I mean, yeah.
It did good.
There's a reason there's a sequel. And yeah, they couldn't quite figure out, because it was like it reviewed badly because it was too scary for kids, and it wasn't interesting enough for adults. And the first one kind of just, I think it kind of succeeded off the back of nostalgia. So they tried to make it more family friendly for the second one, which just kind of resulted in a less interesting movie. But yeah, my favorite, one of my favorite YouTube channels, Mr. Sunday Movies, he hates the first one and prefers the second one because it's closer to the cartoon. I think I liked about the second one was that it brought back classic monsters. I will say, yeah, the Scrappy being the bad guy is kind of a fun twist. And when he pees on her, it's very funny.
And then, yeah, you're right. This one does start very similarly, where the gang breaks up and then they have to come back together. They solve it. The bad guys stop. Yeah. Rowan Atkins is also there, and that's fun.
That's fun. It's fun. It's a romp.
It's a romp.
It's a romp. Is that it?
Yeah.
The live action Scooby-Doo. So, have not seens. I wound up ahead. That never happens. It rarely happens.
Because you started off with your TV shows.
Okay. So I wanted to settle what's the best Tom and Jerry movie without watching all of the other Tom and Jerry movies. So I only watched one more Tom and Jerry movie. It's 2021, I believe, is when it came out. It's a live action CGI hybrid, animation hybrid, and it is not very good. It is, in fact, very bad. All of the... Okay. The story of it is there's a hotel. Chloe Grace Moretz is a Gen Z character, and she has this whole subplot about how she doesn't want to work for anything and how she just wants to skip ahead in life, and it's like weird commentary on Gen Z. It's very strange. It's oddly condescending. But she ends up tricking her way into working for a hotel. That Jerry, the mouse, has moved into. In the meantime, Tom has moved to the city with the desire to be a jazz pianist.
Pianist.
Piano player. Get your mind out of the gutter. He wants to be a piano player. And so, while playing music at the park, disguised as a blind cat, so he's a blind piano-playing cat, Jerry shows up, and there's a really funny bit where Jerry is dancing in front of him, and Tom has to pretend like he's like still blind, so he can't like notice him, but he obviously notices him there, and so then Jerry blows his ruse and is like, "Wait," the one person's like, "Wait, he's not a blind piano playing mouse, he's just a regular piano playing mouse. I don't like that at all. Get him! I want my money back." And so then, the movie is basically about Chloe. It becomes Mouse Hunt, where Chloe Grace Moretz and Tom are trying to get Jerry, because there's also at the same time a wedding happening between like a celebrity influencer couple. The guy played by Colin Jost, who's Weekend Update on SNL.
No.
The news bit on SNL. No.
Okay.
He's a guy from SNL, and he's trying. At one point, he brings in like a bunch of elephants, and for some reason, all of the animals in this universe are animated. Every single one. There isn't a single regular animal. They're all cartoons, and there is no explanation given as to why they're cartoons. They're all just cartoons, and they look like in the style of Tom and Jerry. So, like, Tom and Jerry looks like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. And for other reasons, some of the animals talk, but, like, some of them don't. So, like, Tom is, at one point, he goes for this, like, show, this, like, rich cat who doesn't talk. Same as Tom. But, like, the movie starts with singing, pigeons who at about the midway point of the movie just like do a recap of the movie. They break the fourth wall, talk to the camera, and just do a recap of the movie for no reason. It's truly bizarre, and it's not like it's not like a regular Hanna Barbera world where it's like, oh, it's just a world where animals talk. No, it wants to be the real world, but all the animals are animated. It's like incoherent. There's no reason for this movie to be live action. Like, it could just as easily be animated. It could be animated in the style of Tom and Jerry, and it could still have human characters, but it could be animated. It does not make any sense that this movie is live action. There's no reason for it.
Just feels like that would make it more expensive.
Sure, but just from a style, just like a style standpoint or an aesthetic standpoint.
No. I mean, having half human, half live action.
Oh yeah.
Like it would just make it more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the bad kind of CGI hybrid where like the eye lines never match. Like you could tell there's points where like she's trying to hit something. Oh, and the Tom has like cartoon abilities. So at one point he spells out his name with like his skin, and she's like, "Oh, your name is Tom." But it's not like a regular cat can't do that. So he's a cartoon cat who follows cartoon physics.
Logic.
Yeah, at one point the climax, one of the climax of the movie is they all get everyone's trying not to get caught in a cartoon tornado where like Tom, Jerry, and Spike the dog are all fighting each other and everything's getting pulled into this tornado. But nobody reacts to it as though it's cartoon. They react to it as though it's real. As though it's like
in their world, it is real.
But there's no narrative reason for it. It's really very strange. Again, it could be animated. Like this movie.
The narrative reason is shut up your face.
Like at one point, there's elephants they ride in on elephants who are they're cartoons, but they talk. But like they don't recognize that they talk. It's really very strange. At one point, Tom sings. I sent you a clip of that.
You did. It was weird.
It's weird. It comes out of nowhere and doesn't remotely come back in any way. The fact that he's a jazz piano player has nothing to do. The movie, and again, they're not characters in their own movie. Like, that's one of the weirdest parts. Is like they Chloe Grace Moretz is the main character of that movie. The story's about her. They kind of just periodically show up and then leave, and it's not really about them.
That's because Tom and Jerry aren't really. I've never understood the idea of trying to make a movie about characters that aren't. They don't have Not that they don't have personality, but they don't have character. I don't know how to word it exactly, but they're not. They're not like a Bugs Bunny or a Daffy Duck.
Their shorts are about one thing, and it's about them chasing each other. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, make it a narrative. But the narrative, so you end up having to make a narrative that isn't about them or doesn't involve them, and they're just there. And it doesn't really work. It's not really very interesting. Like I say, it's incoherent. There are some jokes that I will acknowledge are funny. There's a really funny bit where he's got the devil. Tom has the devil and an angel on his shoulder, and the devil constantly tricks him. And he's like, what are we even doing here? He's got this really sassy attitude, and he talks on Tom's behalf. But yeah, they communicate either by charades or by like thought bubbles, which shows what they're thinking. So they don't talk in this. So that's where I'm like, well, okay, yeah, you can do a movie where they don't talk. Like, yeah, you don't have to have them talk.
No, I mean you can, but as I'm hearing from what you're telling me, it turns out bad.
Yeah, it's not very interesting. Like, it's just like there are some funny jokes. I won't say it's devoid of funny jokes.
The other one they talk.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think that the animated Tom and Jerry the movie is the best Tom and Jerry movie, and I stand by that. I just didn't think it was very good. Again, they're trapped in a story that's just not very interesting. The CGI characters are bad. Like, it's a lot of like, just swing wherever and we'll fill them in later. Like, there's a lot of scenes like that where it's like, yeah, clearly she's not looking at anything. She's just looking, and they've just put Tom or Jerry there. So it's not like they've not considered the characters in the scene when they've shot the scene, and it makes the characters less believable. It looks more like a parody, a bad parody of this, where yeah, it's like you could tell they're clearly not lifting anything. It's one of those. It's really distracting.
Student film version where they don't understand what it's like to have these things there.
I would have gone with like YouTube video, but yeah, basically. That's it. That is the Tom and Jerry movie. The new one.
Okay, well then I guess it's time for me to sorry. Well then, boo boo. I guess it's time for me to talk to you about some have-not-seens. Okay, boo boo.
All right.
No, you're supposed to be boo boo. That was a terrible. Boo-boo.
I don't know how to do boo. All right, man. I don't.
All right. Yogi Bear. Anyway,
yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
My first have not seen, and I know what you are all gonna say. And it was produced by Hanna Barbera. Their names are on the project. It is one of theirs. It's Ultraman: The Adventure Begins.
Yeah, I know we said we weren't going to talk about Ultraman every week. I meant that. It was just a weird coincidence.
It was just a weird coincidence that they produced this.
They executive produced this for some reason.
Jointly produced it with Subaraya Productions.
Did they distribute it?
Just on this says jointly produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions and Subaraya Productions.
The credits just said that they executive produced it, but I'm wondering like what their American, because otherwise it just sounds like it's made by the Japanese guys. So I'm just wondering what their American involvement is. Clearly, they're the ones who brought this to America, but I'm wondering if they distributed it.
Animated by both Studio Sign and Ashi Productions.
Yeah, like they didn't animate it. They just executive produced it.
They were the production company.
No, but they didn't. And that's my point. Is their production company paid for it. They're on the movie when in the opening credits.
It says here that it's distributed by Toho.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Does it say what their American producer or their American distributor was? I can't imagine it would.
No.
I'd be interested to know if they distributed it in America.
I'm guessing it was Toho.
No, but Toho wouldn't have American distribution rights. They would have distributed it in Japan.
Then that might have been Hanna Barbera that did it. I don't
Because
know. It doesn't say here.
in the credits
Uh,
it said that they cause executive producers don't do a ton. Like that's my overall point is like an executive producer doesn't do a ton. So it's like they're
it's just
minimally involved in this for some reason.
it just says it was broadcast on television in the United States on October 12th, 1987, with a Japanese theatrical release following on April 28th, 1981.
Oh, so they must have had the television rights. That's why. I'm
It
guessing.
came to United States first,
Yeah, well, I'm guessing.
and then it was in
Yeah, I'm
Japanese.
guessing they must have had the television rights. That's why. That's why it's pretty.
Uh,
But on the credits, when I saw you watching it, they're only credited as executive producers, which is like not a ton. It is otherwise mostly a Japanese creation in terms of their credits. It's all
well,
Japanese
it's
names.
interesting. It's just interesting because it's known, although I have the title Ultraman The Adventure Begins, it's also known as Ultraman USA.
Yep, yep. He is
So it is
considered to be his own canonical Ultraman.
there's three of them.
Yes, well, the main one, the because I assume it's
There's
like
there's no main one. It's the three of them. They're a team.
oh
They all fight at the same time.
I see. Is that part of it? They have to
Uh,
turn to Ultraman at the same time.
no, so I'm gonna get into this now. Well, what's interesting about this quote unquote movie is it was originally intended as a pilot for an animated series, but the series never emerged, and the pilot was made into a full length film.
Yeah, it's given like it's the first 3 episodes mushed into a movie vibes.
It absolutely is, and so as a result, this movie largely just devolves to they fight a monster, and it would be the end of the episode, but then
Yeah.
it kind of just continues into they fight the next monster. Um, so like there's a part where they're each fighting a monster on different parts, like in different places. So at one point, and those are the clips I sent you. At one point, while one of them is fighting the girl one was fighting the tentacle monster one in a completely different part of the world. And then it kind of coalesces with the final part of it. They're fighting the ultimate, like the strongest of all the monsters, and the three of them are fighting it at the same time, and like they keep losing until they find some technology that the science person uses on the monster to weaken it so then they can defeat it. And then it ends basically with they decide to stay on Earth to continue protecting it from threats from space, and that's obviously where the show would have taken off. And each episode would have been them fighting a different monster. But their headquarters, and this is how you know that it's Ultraman USA. Their headquarters is in Mount Rushmore.
I suspect. Wait, do you actually see Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I was gonna say I suspect that was a dub thing, but no, if you see it, no.
No, you see it's Mount Rushmore. So yeah, you've got Scott Masterson, who transforms into Ultraman Scott. You have Chuck Gavin, the toughest and oldest of the team, who transforms into Ultraman Chuck, and Beth O'Brien, who is the cool-headed female of the team, who transforms into Ultra Woman Beth. Which, as an aside, this was the first time that I have ever seen a woman Ultraman.
They do exist.
Ultra Woman.
They exist. They're rare, but they exist.
And then there's the different. You've got I'm looking for them. Hold on. Because this Wikipedia has all the stats and shit of each of these Ultramen, which I'm not going to read that. For example, that Ultra Woman Beth has a height of 249 feet, weighs 54 tons, and has a flight speed of Mach 23.
Pretty fast.
But there's the Sorkin monsters, where I don't know, maybe if I read these, maybe these are things from another thing that you'll recognize. There's Green Shocks, Garu Balade.
If it's monsters, no, I don't know monsters.
King Mira is the bad one, the ultimate bad one that they have to fight.
No, they all sound and look the same.
There was an interesting bit of trivia which I had read here, which I'm just looking for. There it is. Ultraman Legend. These Ultramen from this one. Um, uh, Ultraman Legend. The cast gets new live-action footage in the short, which features fight scenes of each of the 28 Ultras from the original Ultraman to Ultraman Cosmos. So these three showed up in that. They also show up in Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy Legend the movie, which has the Ultraman USA ones showing up.
I know that they're canonical. They very much are part of the universe.
I believe I saw something about there was a stage one, like a stage production, which they also show up in.
That's pretty funny.
But I gotta say, after all the, and this is wrapping up my final thoughts here, after all the other Hanna Barbera, the Scooby Doo, the very like all the other stuff, this was very different.
Yeah, imagine. Imagine it was
like
different.
This was, and yeah, it was another example of you can tell that this was a show.
Yeah.
Like you could feel that it was.
Yeah, they used to shove shit onto VHS and then be like, "Yeah, this is a movie." It's a movie.
It's a quote unquote movie.
It's like air quotes movie. Yeah. Okay. So my final thing of the week is so we talked about Top Cat the show. The reason why I watched Top Cat the show is because I watched Top Cat the movie from 2011, which is the series finale for Top Cat. And so I, of course, wanted to go back and watch the original show. But this movie, it turns out Top Cat is very popular in Latin America. Go figure. So the original show was very popular in Latin America, the dub of it. So a Mexican animation company was tasked with making this movie, which is animated entirely in Flash and looks like a shitty YouTube video, but for like an hour and a half. It looks cheap. It sounds cheap. It looks cheap. It is cheap. And it doesn't. It's one of those things where it's trying to do a facsimile of the show, of what it thinks the show is like, or what the characters are like, without actually doing it. The guy who is doing Top Cat does an okay voice, but it's not very funny. It's not very clever. It's not very smart. It's not very well made. And it did exceptionally well. It's weird because it started off, it was going to be a live action animated hybrid, which I think in this case might have made this more interesting. But it eventually they decided, this Mexican production company decided that it was going to be an animated movie that did once again really well in Latin America. So they commissioned a sequel, which is a prequel. It's a how the gang met. It's just not. It was like, wow, this is a real like wet fart like way to end the week. I'm real glad I watched the show because it was just it introduces new characters. So the Ranger Smith of the show, which is a cop. It's a cop, and he's the one who they constantly bamboozle. He gets I think I sent you a video. He gets fired, or no, he doesn't get fired, but they bring in this guy who is now the chief of police, and the chief of police retires, and the cop from the show, he gets treated like shit, and he constantly makes him do shitty jobs, and this guy basically introduces like robots, which captures all of the good guys, and it's about stopping this evil guy who is not a character from the original show. He's like an original character, and of course, because it's the movie version of the show, they give Top Cat a love interest, so it ends with him getting a love interest. I will say the show's better. The show is way better, and it's way more interesting. The funny bit is it said that it had Rob Schneider in it, but he's only in like one version of it, and the version of it I watched did not have him in it. There's just certain characters that they almost feel like a parody of the original character. Like, again, it feels like a parody YouTube video that somebody made and put out, but it's an hour and a half. It's very bizarre. It's very strange. But yeah, I don't understand why this character is so popular, but he is for some reason. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I got for top. That's it. That's it for me this week.
So, my last movie, and so you know how every now and then you're like, you can see the short or the video that's ultimately going to come out of a particular. I can see the one that's going to come out of this, and it's going to be called Jordan, the incomparable Jordan sings the praises of Scooby Doo and Crypto 2, because I loved this movie. It was a delight. It's everything I love from Scooby Doo, especially from the when they cross over with other things. It takes pot shots at DC in all the best and funnest ways. It's got references to DC with the Scooby Doo, like through the Scooby Doo's lens,
That's
which
funny.
just makes it makes it so enjoyable. So without further ado, this was a 2023 straight or direct-to-video mystery film, where the Justice League has disappeared, and so the Lana
Lois.
Lois. Why did
Lois
I want
Lane.
to say Lana Lane? Lois Lane
Close enough.
Calls on the mystery gang, the Mystery Inc. crew, to solve the mystery of the disappearance of the Justice League. And I mean, there's so many fun things in this. I have one thing I would have done differently, but it's a small thing. But you get funny jokes like Velma's glasses fall off, and Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are like, what happened to Velma? Like making fun of the whole glasses with Superman thing. You have a part where they're going through the Hall of Justice, and Scooby, out of the collection of all the in the museum or whatever, they have a collection of the different power rings, and he takes out a red ring, puts it on, and starts to turn into like a monstrous, angry version of himself. You have the fact that when they first get there and there's the valet is like what's wrong? What's special about your vehicle? And Fred's like, it's just a van, and he's like, oh sweet Jesus, like thank God, it's just a regular car. And in the garage later, you see there's a Wonder Woman's invisible plane, her invisible tank, her invisible trolley, which has far less weapons. He's like, I've had to park everything from Wonder Woman's invisible vehicles to like Green Lantern energy vehicles. It's so many funny jokes. Lex Luthor shows up at one point, and interestingly, in this version of the world, it's the Lex Luthor who was president. So he's former President Lex Luthor.
That's funny.
And they're all like, all the mystery Inc. crew are like, yeah, he's not my president. I didn't vote for him. And Lex has his dog there, who is Rex Ruther.
Rex Ruther.
So they're going through, they're trying to solve the mystery and everything. And I'm not going to give away every single detail, but there's a point where throughout the city, the city is overrun by villains because Justice League has been missing. So you get to see Giganta, Solomon Grundy, Joker, Harley Quinn, General Zod, Non, Ursa, and Brainiac. And there's this whole scene when they're coming into the city where like they're dodging in the van, they're dodging all the villains and stuff, and it's funny. It's a lot of fun. I was smiling pretty much the entire time that I was watching this. So there's a point where inevitably Crypto shows up, and Scooby's like, Super Dog! And he's like in wonder because of Crypto. And the one thing that I would have changed, because Crypto doesn't talk. He barks, right? Like a normal dog.
Yeah.
So when you put him beside Scooby, and Scooby's the talking dog, it kind of makes me go like, well, what they could have done is they could have had a scene or two where it's like just Scooby and Crypto, and Scooby can understand him.
That'd be funny.
But no one else can.
I think it should turn out that Crypto can talk, and he talks like Scooby, but he's self-conscious.
I mean, that would be funny too. But
I
so
rock
like
Ruby. I'm arraigned.
there's a point where Daphne and Velma are talking about like who their favorite superheroes are or something like that, and Velma's like oh man, like I love Wonder Woman, like she's my favorite. And then later in the movie, once they rescue because spoiler alert, they of course save the Justice League.
They saved the Justice League.
And so there's a point later on where Wonder Woman is like Jinkies, and I'm like, yay, that's funny.
She said the thing.
And so you've got a pretty fun cast. Frank Welker's obviously Scooby-Doo and Fred Jones, Matthew Lillard, Shaggy Rogers. But then you've got Nolan North as Superman and Joker and the computer.
That's funny. I'm pretty sure this was one that it got it was supposed to come out and then it got canceled and then it leaked on the internet. And I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Production. It was in development by 2021. On February 2nd, 2023, yada, 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 James Gunn confirmed, yada, 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 Elseworlds. And then it was March 2023. It was alleged to be canceled as a tax write-off for parent company Warner Brother Discoveries, yada, 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 and was subsequently leaked online.
And then they decided to release it anyway.
And then they didn't cancel it, and then they put it out.
Yep, because
they
insist it wasn't because it leaked on the internet, but we all know. We know.
So there's a lot of fun in this one. There's the classic Scooby chase scene over musical interlude where Solomon Grundy is chasing them all, and in that scene there's a lot of fun references in there. You get to see Daphne as a badass wearing a bat belt swinging around on a grapple hook. There's just I genuinely like if you like Scooby-Doo and you like them making fun of DC stuff, watch this movie because it's just it's a quick 76 minutes. It's not a super long one, and I just found myself smiling the entire time.
It's pretty fun. It's a good time.
And that's another fun edition of Jordan Sings a Movie's Praises.
That is the end of our Hanna Barbera special. How did everyone feel about the Hanna Barbera special? Was it nom nom good, delicious nom nom? Jordan, how did you feel about the Hanna Barbera special?
I felt that it was like eating brand cereal, where it's good for you. It's healthy. It's not doing you any serious harm, but it's no Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not like a Disney brand. Cocoa Puffs.
Like you have you have your Cheerios, which are like the Scooby-Doos, which are the ones that are good for you, but you still enjoy them. But for every Scooby-Doo, there's a Huckleberry Hound, which is just straight bran oat.
You're not wrong. But that's it. So next week, everybody. Next week is a little known holiday called 420. Say it with me now, Jordan. 420.
I'm going to say it without peeking the mic. 420.
420.
420. Justin.
So.
420.
So obviously because it's 420, we have to do stoner movies. It's like it's the first time the show's going to be on 420, so we're gonna do some stoner movies. So yeah, that's going to happen. I'm probably
what you say?
I'm probably gonna watch.
I'm probably gonna do Pineapple Express.
I was thinking about doing Pineapple Express. I'm definitely gonna do Cheech and Chong.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper. We'll finish this after.
Wait. Paper, scissors,
rock, paper,
shoot.
Scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock. Paper,
okay, well we'll have to. This could go all day. We'll have to finish this off stream.
That's the end of the show. Jordan, where can people find you?
I do Minecraft Mondays when the internet doesn't crap out on us on Sundays and stop me from doing it. Then
he usually does Minecraft Mondays.
Twitch, Zethgore187.
Yeah.
Be there or don't.
Also, I'm going to be competing with him. I'm going to also be airing our live Star Trek Final Frontier Season 1 extravaganza. We talk on Monday, 5 o'clock on Final Frontier. Go check that out. I'm going to be in my Star Trek uniform, doing my Star Trek. You can also find the show on Spur of the Moment P. Jordan, you can email the show. I bet you didn't know, if you want to sponsor us or just for any reason, any old reason. You can join the Discord. You could pay us on Patreon if you'd like. That'd be pretty sweet. You could follow me. I'm on TikTok. I'm Justin Spurr on TikTok. You can follow me. Leave us a comment. Share it, like and comment, like and share, and tell people to subscribe to us.
And subscribe.
Get
because
us to 150.
Because you want Justin to eat those hot peppers.
You want to hear Jordan's angry Apple TV rant.
I mean, more because you want to see Justin suffer with the peppers.
I mean, you want to see me eat those peppers. But in the meantime, we'll see you next week, everyone. Have a good day.
See ya.